in well
Bam,
back.
we're live. Bryan Battle.
Hey, how you
Uh-oh.
doing?
My audio's all jacked up. Wait, let me there we go. Good morning.
Hey,
Look at
can you
that
hear me?
mustache.
Oh man, I know I gotta shave. It's just like it's weird. I forget to shave because there's not anything tickling me in the middle.
Yeah.
But then I talk to people. I'm like, yeah, I know. I need to handle it. It's out of
That
control.
that's how it comes in like that.
Yeah, no, man, it just comes in like this.
That's amazing. I don't think you need to fix it. I think you need to let it express itself. Holy cow, the symmetry.
Man, I tell you, well, you know what? That makes me feel good. You know what I mean? Because usually no one has anything positive to say about my mustache. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
dude.
No one ever has anything good to say about this thing, and that just made my day a little bit.
Hey, if you let that thing grow in and then you just wax it out real pointy, holy crap.
I mean, it has a lot of potential. You know what I
A
mean?
lot of potential. What's your ethnicity?
I'm biracial. My dad was white. My mom is black. So, um, you know, there's a lot of people that come up to me all the time and think I'm, their ethnicity. Spanish people come up to me talking in Spanish, and they're always disappointed. I'm like, un poquito español. They're like, oh, come on, man. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Polynesian people come up to me a lot, especially when I weighed more. And they were like, hey,
I
they'd be
see the
all excited.
Polynesian. I see the Polynesian for sure. That's what I would have guessed. I would have guessed
Yeah.
like you're. Yeah, but it's interesting. I'm in California. I got a bunch of Mexican friends, and they're like hairless cats. Those guys, no armpit hair, no chest
Yeah.
hair. Those fuckers are lucky.
Well, I mean, the rest of my body is pretty much, I've never shaved anything. So, I'm pretty thankful for that. I mean, I figure being hairy can be kind of inconvenient sometimes, you know what I mean? But
And it's not just not cool. No one's like, damn. No one's ever like, damn. I love how hairy that guy is. It's always like, I don't mind his hair. It's like, oh, all right.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, for real though, I mean, that could be like some secret kind of deal, but yeah, no, for the most part, yeah, you're onto something there. No one's really like ever pointed out how much they like the chest hair someone's got, you
right.
know what I mean?
My wife of 20 years never takes in her finger and like curling my chest hair.
They
I
used to do
can't.
that in those old school movies though, like, the guys would have their chest out and the girls would be like stroking their chest through their chest hair and whatnot.
Maybe
Uh,
cartoons.
I feel like they did that in James Bond movies. Am I wrong? I
I
feel
don't
like they
know, but
did it in
I
some.
like it. That's a good group for it to happen to. For those of you who don't know, this is a very special guest, Bryan Battle. He won the toughest game show that I've ever heard of in the history of man. It's like one of those Arnold Schwarzenegger movie game shows. It's called The Ultimate Fighter. He won season 29. If you're like me, you have some weird addiction to sitting down every Saturday and watching dudes in booty shorts beat each other.
Ah.
Um, in the athleticism, the stamina, the endurance, the training that goes into it is absolutely nuts. And Bryan won that. He had to win it twice. He had to beat the dude on the show, and then for the first time in 29 or 30 years, then he had to come on last week. Was last week or 2 weeks ago?
It's two
Oh,
weeks ago now.
2 weeks
Two
ago
weeks
had
ago.
to come on and beat another guy who, man, uh, and I think I've been bugging you for quite a while to, man, it was easier to get Aljamain and Alexander Volkanovski on than you.
Man, no, it was really like this past year and a half. Like my December 5th, 2020, I got married, and then a couple
What?
months
Wait,
later,
December, the 2020 December.
5th, December
Okay,
5th,
so 1 year
2020.
into the madness. Okay.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
in February was my last fight outside of any UFC stuff, and then in April, it was the show, do the show, get back, have the finale. I mean, my wife is pregnant at this time too. After my fight in February, I come back and she's like, "By the way, I'm pregnant." I was like, "Holy cow!" And so then go on the show, win the finale, have a baby, and it was just like, and my nephew lives with me too, and so he came and started living with us after the finale too. So
How
it's just
old's your
been,
nephew?
he's 13,
Wow.
so it's just
Good
been
on you
a
for taking him on. That's your sister's kid?
yeah, it's my oldest sister's son, and yeah, no, he's a sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? He makes me a better person. You know what I mean? So, yeah, no, it's just been insanity. You know what I mean? And yeah, I've never been good at phone like social media. Is something I'm working on right now. But yeah,
You are not
especially.
working on it. But look at this. He's lying. Go to his Instagram account. He ain't working on shit.
I mean, I post stuff. You know what I'm saying? I
He
get
didn't
all
post
that.
nothing.
So I interact with the people. You know.
You can scroll down to this guy's first post faster than anyone on Instagram alive.
Well, no,
This.
this is actually the old Instagram account. My new
Oh,
one is Pooh Bear Battle with no underscores.
oh, okay. Before we go to that, I want to click on something real quick. Will you go to
Yeah.
the very first post on that account, Caleb? And I want to read this out loud. It's a post. I don't know what book it's from. I've seen this a few times now. It says, first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists. I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews. I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. You posted that 5 years ago. That's 5 years ago, that would have meant nothing to me. And today I'm watching this shit unfold in real time, and I'm like, how the fuck did he know? Oh, 5 years ago. Wait a second. That's more than 5 years ago. That's 10 years, 52 weeks in a year. How many times is 52 going to 475? 9 times? That's 9 years ago.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. No, that's actually from a book I read called Bonhoeffer, and he was like a preacher and a theologian, and he was involved in the one of the big assassination attempts on Hitler's life. And the whole book is happening from a religious perspective, seeing the Nazi takeover of Germany. And so that's what this quote is in reference to. And it was just, as I read it, it was like incredibly profound, because it's like one of those things where everyone always looks to take care of themselves first. Um, but at a certain point, if there's not, you know, the drive to take care of others as we would take care of ourselves, this is the kind of thing that happens. This is how like takeovers happen, when we stop caring about our fellow man and only care about ourselves.
Was there something that
Because
you saw? I mean, because I'm seeing this. It's funny that they use socialists, because now it's the socialists who are driving the ship and taking
yeah,
away everyone's rights. But you're right. It's the reason why we have to stand up for hate speech, because we believe in freedom of speech. We cannot let anyone treat anyone the way we wouldn't want to be treated. But one of the guests says great book. What resonated with you? Like, I would have read that 9 years ago and I would have just passed over it. Why did that affect you 9 years ago? Was someone not speaking out for you, or did you see something that was coming?
um well, just to have a little bit deeper background on me, I came up very religious, and I was actually, before I dropped out of college to become a professional fighter, I was actually in school to get my degree in religious studies. And
Okay.
um, I was very involved in, like community stuff, and like inner city kids. And I think, at the time I'm reading this, I'm being introduced to like a whole bunch of new ideas. Um, I'm seeing the way a lot of these kids are kind of just like written off. You know what I mean? And there's so many like talented people over there, who will never really get the chance to show what they got. One, because they don't know what they're capable of, and other people aren't able to tell them because they don't see that in them. Um, but yeah, no, just seeing that, it just really like resonated with me, because it's true. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you sit idly and you let bad things happen to people, and you're not willing to protect other people, then at a certain point, when you need protection, there won't be anyone to protect you. So it was just something that I saw and immediately resonated with me, and it's something that, like you said, is like uh, now is more prevalent than ever, now that everyone's so divided and into their groups. uh, yeah, no, that's one of my favorite quotes of all time.
It's interesting to be in your sport, because I think particularly because Dana's not playing that game. But they sold to WME, so in WME's woke as shit. It's just so interesting that you're in a sport where he's not doing that. We did a show last night, and my co-host was explaining, like, you can't be Democrat or Republican anymore. You gotta be your own thinker.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I mean, like you said, I mean, the sport in general has, ever since Conor McGregor kind of hit the scene and made all that money, everyone is all about promoting in the most toxic way possible. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, explain that to me. You mean like the Colbys and the Jorges and just. I mean, I like those guys, by the way. I enjoy the antics, but sometimes it does get a little, like, some of the stuff Connor's, like the stuff about people's families and wives, I get a little turned off by that, actually.
No, and there's a certain extent, if you're talking about somebody and you're talking about their skills, I understand that. You know what I'm saying? You're saying, I'm going to beat you because I see this in your game, and I'm going to exploit that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, once you start, like, getting really personal for the sake of selling, like you say, you're insulting people's families and religions for the sake of selling. Like, you have to become a different person for the sake of selling pay-per-views. Like, I feel like that is, like, that just seems like really against, like, how genuine and honest the sport actually is. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like as far as sports goes, there's nothing really more honest than two guys getting inside of a cage and figuring out who's the better man. You know what I'm saying? Look, with as few rules as possible and as little equipment as possible. It's like you have your mind and your body in there. And so all the antics outside, and this is fighting. It's going to get heated sometime. There's nothing wrong with it. I love a good rivalry, but especially when it's true. You know what I'm saying? When it has to be drummed up and people are doing ridiculous things, and the more I get involved with the sport, the less I like it, because now I'm getting to the point where people are telling me I have to promote myself and I have to start, doing stuff and talking and, calling people out. I'm just like, I don't like it that much. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, it's almost played out. You know what I mean? But
yeah. What of it is, so there's being fake.
Yeah.
But then there's just people who just have bad behavior. So let's just pick, like, one of the worst. Let's just pick one of the worst incidents when Connor threw the hand truck at the bus. Like, that wasn't fake. Do you think that was fake, or that's just bad behavior? That's just like he was on coke, or I'm just making that up. I don't know. I've never heard that rumor, but he was just out of his mind and it's just bad behavior. Or is that fake?
I think what I think about that is, like, if you look at, like, fighters over, like, the time, there's, like, usually, like, an alter ego, especially for, like, really successful fighters. Like Mike Tyson had Iron, you know what I'm saying? Conor McGregor had the Notorious, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can see in a lot of situations where the alter ego kind of, like, takes over the fighter, you know what I'm saying? Where, you can do anything inside the cage. So the how you trick yourself to have the courage to do anything inside a cage kind of leaks over into, like, everyday life. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know, but I'll take your word for it. You're talking to a world-class pussy right here, but go on.
Well, but I mean, like, someone like Conor, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't see him doing something like that when he had just entered into the UFC, but
Right.
He became what he was promoting, you know what I'm
So
saying?
he's not high on coke, he's high on the persona.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
That's personally.
So it's not fake. It just gets away from you. I mean, you start believing that you're bigger than life.
Yeah. Start getting too close to the sun. You know what I mean?
Caleb, can you show that again, that clip? That is a remarkable throw. Have you ever tried to pick one of those up?
I've picked up a Dolly a few times.
Those things are fucking heavy and awkward as shit. I mean, they're so heavy at the base.
Once you get the momentum going, you know what I'm saying? It's all there. Once you get it over your head, you're good to go. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If I can say this, the first time I saw you, and I was actually excited to do this, I saw you on the CrossFit Games.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
And I think, now that we're talking about this, maybe they should work this into an event where they got go across a football field, throwing a dolly, and they have to run after it. And at the end of the football field, they have to stack weights on the dolly and roll it back across the football field.
If I knew my buddy who used to run the games just got fired, but other than that, maybe he'll start an event. Wink, wink, and I'll suggest that to him. Did you ever fuck around with CrossFit? Did you ever play with that?
Honestly, if I had started watching CrossFit before I had started watching MMA, I probably would have got super into CrossFit. But it was only because I spent all my time training MMA. Like I was like, I think it's kind of counterintuitive to do CrossFit while I'm doing MMA. But it's definitely once I retire from MMA, I'll probably get into CrossFit and do a couple competitions. Like I don't say that too much because people are like, oh, CrossFit, but I think it's cool. I think it's badass personally.
It's hard, man. What those guys are doing is hard. It's interesting. You'll get a lot of retired athletes, like guys maybe who had like 5 or 6 amateur fights or a couple fights in the UFC, and then they'll come to CrossFit. Same with you'll get a guy who has a couple of years in the NFL sitting on the bench. They'll come to CrossFit. All the sports, kind of like if your dreams as a professional athlete don't last, a lot of these guys, because they're so fucking physically capable, they come to CrossFit. And there was a guy named Chris Spieler in the early years, and he was I think he was a Division I wrestler. And he said the interesting thing in wrestling, the whole sport is a dude trying to stop you.
Yeah.
But in CrossFit, it's just you. And that's like the kind of the coolest thing about it, like to switch from it, there's no one trying to stop you. It's just all you. And people often ask, should there be some sort of fighting or wrestling or grappling in the games? And I don't think so. I think it's just so different.
Yeah, no, that would because like you said, that's the best thing about the CrossFit games is it's like the mental war that's happening. It's like the war of attrition, that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Who could put the barbell over their head the most amount of times and take the least breaths in between the reps? You know what I mean? Yeah. Having like some kind of fighting. Yeah, no, that wouldn't be, because then guys would get hurt and stuff like that. That would be unnecessary. I don't think that would add too much to the games. I've never even considered them fighting in the games. It would just be. It's just like
it's a totally different.
sport.
It's a totally different thing. Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that. That makes me feel better. Like I said something smart.
Absolutely, you're a smart man. You know what I'm saying?
What about the religious studies that you don't do anymore? Is that something you get back to? And where do you go with that? I wanted to be a religious studies major, and my dad was pretty much against it, even though my dad went to seminary school and used in Lebanon and came to the United States to become a priest. But then I switched to, I think I went to college as a statistics major, failed out of that. I went to UC Santa Barbara. Then I was I wanted to be a religious studies major. My dad was against that. Then I was a black studies major. Okay. And I realized real quickly that was just bullshit. I got kicked out of one of those classes. And because I had been homeless, and then I had also had homeless guys living in my house, and I had black dudes living in my house who were homeless, like in my backyard in tents. And then I had dudes like with Nazi swastikas and shit, and they were like friends and shit, right? Because like
that's hardcore.
Well, when you need a place to sleep and somewhere to eat, you kind of push all that other shit aside, right?
Facts.
Hierarchy. You don't have and I remember saying in my sociology class one time, I raised my hand to Professor, I think the idea of racism is a luxury. If like we were just worried about surviving, that didn't go over well.
Yeah.
I got yelled at, kicked out of that. And then I became a film studies major, and then I dropped out. I think my parents stopped paying. I did 10 years as an undergrad. Don't tell anyone. I don't want anyone to know that. It's embarrassing.
I mean, that just means you got like a lot of knowledge, but
Thank you.
Nothing to show for it.
Are you trying to compliment me because I came at you hard, loving on your mustache, and now you're trying to tell me it's okay? I dropped out. I'm smart as shit. I like it.
Because I tell people all the time, like I want to eventually like have enough money that I can go back to college and get all the degrees that you can't make money with that I always wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like like stuff that I'm interested in, but you can't. It's not easy to make a career out of, like sociology, like philosophy. Those classes were interesting to me. But and even religious studies, that's not something where you make a whole lot of money, but it was just like I was like, I can't just do something for the sake of making money. You know what I mean?
Did you or do you feel God? Did you have something happen to you that made you go, oh shit, something's going on here, like getting a car accident or someone put a gun to you or something like that?
No, it's just like my whole life, and I was around it, and I see the truth in it. You know what I'm saying? Especially like the older I get, You know, a lot of those stories you hear in like Sunday school, I think about it, I'm like, holy cow, man. Like the lessons I learned young uh really translate, you know what I mean? Like having the faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain, you know what I mean? You know, you hear that, you don't really think too much of it until you try to move a mountain, you know what I mean? And you know, in order to move a mountain, you know, figuratively, you know, you have to be able to have like real genuine belief in yourself. You know, whether that starts off small, there has to be something in you that genuinely believes that you can move that mountain, and then you have to take the proper steps to move that mountain, and then you know incredible things can happen. Um, the you know stuff like that. You know story of David. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. Yeah, everyone knows about David and Goliath, but you know they don't know that David came from the lineage of a prostitute. You know what I'm saying? And
Who David?
David from David and Goliath.
Yeah, I didn't know
You know,
his mom was a prostitute.
his like grandmother was a prostitute, or he came from the line of a prostitute, and she helped out God's people. So God blessed her line, and then eventually David, who was the youngest of all his brothers, and you know was the run of the litter, and you know was out taking care of the sheep. You know, he was out taking care of the sheep, but while he was taking care of the sheep, he was learning how to defend them against like lions and bears, which gave him the confidence when he went against Goliath to take out Goliath. And then he goes on to become the king of Israel and does all this stuff. And, you know, it's just like one of those things where you can miss like how great of a story that is. You know, when you're hearing it as a kid, you just get caught up in the David and Goliath stuff, but it's like the whole story, all in
Dude,
all,
that's
is just
Khabib's story right there. He had to fight bears when he was a little kid, so he was ready for fucking Connor.
Facts.
Holy
Facts.
cow! I didn't. So that's how David was got his training protecting sheep, and that's
Yeah,
what made him
no,
such a good warrior. That's awesome. I never knew that.
no, there's just like a lot of like things in there you just don't think about as a kid. And like as I've gotten older and I like reflect on life, it's just like, wow, man, like there's like some heaviness to this. And you know, like we were talking before, you know, um, just um, like loving people. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you know, not to like go on too much of a rant, but you
No,
know,
please. I love
it,
loving on people. I love Bible stuff because I don't believe, but I know it's true.
yeah, no, well, it's like, you know, if you talk about Christianity in America, you know, you think about going to church and Bible studies and whatnot. Uh, but, you know, the Bible, it talks about, if you read Isaiah 1, you know, God says he hates the gatherings, you know what I'm saying? He hates the offerings. He's like, if you're not taking care of the widows, orphans, and the oppressed, none of that means anything to me. In James 1:27, he said, true religion is to take care of uh I'm having a blank, but to take care of like the widows and the orphans and to have control of your tongue, you know.
Is this the one you're talking about? Pure religion
Yes,
and undefiled before God, and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction and keep himself unspotted from the world.
it's, you know, saying, you know, it's like you're taking care of the people who can't take care of themselves, you know what I'm saying? You're taking care of the people who
Yeah.
can't give anything back to you, because I mean, if you look at the story of the Bible,
Wow.
that's what Jesus did for us, you know what I'm
My,
saying? He
my
took care of
parents
us.
raised me to be like that by example.
And it's
That's
like
crazy. Both my
examples
mom
like the
and
best
dad
way to
took
do it.
care of people. Yeah, they took care of people. They're such good people. Man, my dad used to do so much good shit for people. I probably still does.
Yeah, and I mean, those are like the people who like make impacts in the world. You know what I'm saying? And you know, they don't need a phone on them while they're doing this stuff to like go out and help people. You know what I mean? Um,
You kind of got to make it a habit too. I feel like I don't know the exact statement, but I remember seeing something in the Bible one time, and it said basically Jesus was saying if you stand up and pray in church, you'll receive the glory of God there, and if you pray behind closed doors, you will receive the abundance of God throughout your life. Meaning, like, don't if you do it as a braggart, you'll get that glory from your peers.
mhm,
Is sort of how I take it. But
yeah,
because I saw my dad do that stuff and my mom do that stuff, help people, you know, like if I see an old lady and it's raining and she's standing on the corner you know, and I don't think it'll be weird and creepy. Like if I have my kids with
Yeah.
me or something, I'll pull up and I'll roll down my window. I'll be like, "Yo, girl, you want to get in? Where are you going?" You know, and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
7-year-old lady will open the front door and jump in the van, and she's like, "I'm going over there. Is that okay?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And I don't make eye contact with her or like make her feel uncomfortable at all, you
Mhm.
know, and then drop her off. And it's interesting. You got to make it a habit so you're not doing it. It's got to feel like your duty,
Yeah,
not
like
your
obligation.
yeah, like you got to see that woman as your mom or your grandmother, your sister. It's like the other day I saw these like 8 kids, you know, young. They're on their bikes. We have wheelie gangs around Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
You know, they just do
Yeah.
wheelies and I see them. They've stopped and they're being loud and they're hoodlums and they're 14. And I'm just looking at them being like, man, I remember that. What a great life. You know, they're
Yeah.
probably going to go steal a beer in a minute and share like
Yeah.
140 or something. So I
Yeah.
walk over to him and I said, "Hey," one of the kids holding his phone. I'm like, "Give me your phone. I'll take a picture of you guys. You guys will have it forever." And one of the
Yeah.
kids is like, "How do we know you're not going to run away?" I said, "Because I'm 5'5" and 49, motherfucker, and there's 8 of you. And all the kids start laughing. So the kid hands me his phone
Yeah.
and I take a picture. But you can't, like my first instinct was to stay away from those kids, but you
Yeah.
can't. You have to go, you have to face that and go over to them and treat them like humans and give them a picture and like let them know, like, hey, you're not alone. You're not just 14-year-old hoodlums in the park. We're all here. We love you. We've all done what you've done.
Facts.
Let me get you know what I mean? Just a little,
Facts.
just interaction. Just,
No,
you know, it's like you said, you love people. Like you just got to go over and just put the love on them a little bit.
well, I mean, that's like, I mean, like the worst thing that's happening right now is everyone splitting off into their groups because the way you kill all this stuff is by having like actual real conversations. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And like when you get to know people and you get to know them beyond their, political party or, their, um, you know, whatever they put on as their like social front, as you get to know people, you get to know that, the people are bigger than all those things. You know what I'm saying? Like the actual like human is like bigger than all of these like man-made constructs that we have. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, that's easier said than done. You know what I mean? Like you said, talking to people can be kind of hard sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I mean,
Yeah.
everybody, like
Especially
me.
people like 14-year-old kids. I'm a fucking old man. They don't want me coming over there. Or like if I see people who are 80, like get out of your comfort zone. Go talk to the dude in the wheelchair. Go talk to the kids. Go talk to the old people. Like get out of your, like, even just a hi, so that like
Yeah.
I look so different than them, but a hi, and then all of a sudden like all those differences kind of fade. Oh, he speaks. He speaks. I speak.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, just like acknowledging them. They're just like,
yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
just the acknowledgement, but yeah, no,
Same with
absolutely.
same with the fentanyl addicts that people call homeless, but they're just drug addicts everywhere on the streets. Those people need eye contact.
Yeah,
Like, who do you have that? But do you have people that believe in you, Bryan?
yeah, no,
And how huge is that?
that is, I always say like the haters are what motivate me when I'm in the gym and I'm sweating and I'm tired and I get angry. You know what I'm saying? I think about the haters, but the people who believe in me are the people who get me out of bed to go in the gym when I'm sore and tired. Those are the people who really matter the most because those are the people who I don't want to. It almost feels like they're riding in this journey with me because they,
As
actually
they
believed
are.
in me. Yeah, and
Who is that in your life?
um, well, from day one, my dad has always been my number one supporter. He's been to every fight that he could go to. You know what I mean? Uh, even these past 2 fights, he couldn't get into the Apex because tickets were so hard to get, but he still came out to Vegas and he was there to be with
No
me after the
shit.
wins. Yeah, no,
You
my
couldn't
dad is
get your
awesome.
dad in?
No, no, I can't get my dad in. It's crazy. The demand is really high for them things. Um, and then yeah, there is. I'll tell you, and yeah, no, my dad is a legend, man. He still trains with me to this day. He actually broke
That
my
shirt
nose
he's
one
wearing is
time.
dope. That shirt he's wearing is dope.
No, we did a shirt swap.
Oh.
Yeah, we did a jersey swap. So, and then obviously my wife. I mean, we started dating right before I went pro. But going pro as an MMA fighter isn't really being a pro in and of itself doesn't mean anything because you could be a terrible pro. You have to be a pro fighting for a major organization for that to actually be something to be like actually proud of. So,
That was
she's
2019. You went pro.
yes, sir.
3 years ago.
2019, I went pro. That feels like forever ago right now. Holy cow, it's only been 2 years. But I got a couple friends. My good pal, Cowboy Joe. Um, you know, this man has literally fixed my car for me before. You know what I'm saying? Because I was, people call like broke fighters like we're like struggling artists. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there's times when my brakes are out, I'm like, man, I don't. And he helped me fix my brakes for free. He's a mechanic and whatnot. And, man, I mean, I keep on going. Coach Tom, you know what I'm saying? He's all my coaches, my big bro and uh almost like a role model for a fighter, Keith Richardson, um, you know, my good bud Frankie, it's just it's like a short list. I remember everyone who's on it. Because there's either people who like outright or like, what are you doing, why are you doing this, and then there's the people who you tell what you're doing, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, and you can tell by the tone of their voice and their body language that they're kind of like, okay, yeah, what are you doing? And so
Like relatives, like you haven't seen in a long time, or like, or like they find out what you're doing and they kind of like, congratulations, but they're not happy for you. They're like, shit,
yeah,
you fight for a living.
yeah, I mean, and more peers, I'd say more peers, you know what I'm saying, like I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I started fighting at 21, which is kind of, you know, a later age to get into something like that. And, all my friends are graduating college, you know what I'm saying? And they're all getting real jobs and stuff like that. And, I'm still kind of having to work at the fast food restaurant, um, while I'm training to make ends meet. So it was definitely, even, the people at the fast food restaurant, they're like, hey, when are you going to get serious and buckle down,
Where do you live? What state do you live in?
I live in North Carolina.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, North Carolina is cool. If you ever come through, let me know. You know what I'm saying? I'll show you around Charlotte.
Oh,
Charlotte, North Carolina. That's a big difference because I guess North Carolina is decently big. You know what I'm
you're
saying?
a good dude. I think I'm 300 guests this year already. You're the first person who's offered to show me around their hometown. Thank you.
Hey, man, you had 300 guests this year?
I'm just on a tear, dude.
You're on fire. Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm on a tear. I just decided yeah, I'm taking over. I'm Howard Stern and Joe Rogan had a baby. That's me.
Hey, let's go. I mean, that's what they say. Content is king, right?
Yeah. I'm just on a tear. Look how hard it was to get you on. I was persistent and got you. Yes.
Yeah, man. You're like, I'm gonna get that in. I was like, let's go, man.
3 pro fights in your first 5 months.
Yeah.
Is what is the cadence of well, let me go back. Sorry, let me go a second. As you were building up to your Ultimate Fighter finale, you were telling people this is the biggest fight of your life. But one of the interesting things about UFC, and I think that a lot of people don't understand this, even the diehard fans, is every fight is your biggest fight. This isn't fucking baseball where there's 7,000 games in a year. Every fight is either one step forward or one step backward. There's no homeostasis. There's no equilibrium. Like your shit, you lose, you're fucked, you win, it's good. So like every fight, no matter who it is, that's why, like, who did I see? I saw this weekend a number 10 ranked guy had to fight a number 12 ranked guy. Who was it?
Johnny Walker and Jamel Hill.
Yeah. And I'm like, holy fuck, this is so fucked for Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
Like, this is so fucked because he's number 10. This guy's 12. It's like that movie Highlander. It's like he's stealing his soul when he beats him.
I mean, that's like you said, that's like the craziest part about it is like, because hype is everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get paid off of that and whatnot. So
there's no like, this is just a fight. This is like, this is just like, I don't feel so good today. There's none of that shit.
Yeah.
You have no wiggle room.
Someone beat you. Like you said, they took all your hype. They took everything. It's so that's like I was looking at all this stuff this weekend and Johnny Walker was getting knocked out, and that's the worst part about being in the sport is like not necessarily losing, but you do so much to get to that level, and then if you like lose like that, but anybody can become a meme, but it's just like, ah, man.
And dude, 3 years ago, I thought that dude was on the trajectory to be the fucking greatest ever. Remember
Yeah.
when he did that? He fell down and he hurt his shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, what if he would have never done that?
That's why you don't do worms after fights, I guess. You know what I'm saying? You gotta
Right.
stay. You gotta do some shoulder rolls first. I don't know, man. Yeah, I know. And yeah, I know that. I mean, I was happy for Jamel. That's the tough part. It's like I'm happy for one guy, heartbroken for the other guy.
Yeah.
Like Derrick Lewis getting knocked out last week.
Oh.
That was. I was so happy for Tyavasa. You know what I'm saying? He seems like such a cool dude, but at the same time, I was heartbroken for Derrick Lewis, man. And it's like, damn, man, lost in his hometown. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Twice now.
Yeah, in a short period of time too. It's just like that blows, man.
Hey, I had like 6 or 7 people at my house during the Derrick Lewis fight, maybe more. And when he got knocked out, I've never seen, and I have people over every weekend to watch fights.
Yeah.
I've never seen it where everyone jumps up at the same time. Like usually one person will, or one person will cover their eye. Everyone jumped up. It was like seeing a rhino get shot like from 800 yards and put it while it was charging at you and put it down. It was nuts how it put it to sleep.
I mean, it's crazy to me because it was such a nice knockout that people think it's fake. I'm like, there was nothing fake about that knockout, man. He ate all of that elbow and went straight to sleep. Like
and the shots Ty took like were nuts.
No,
Derrick did what he had to do. It was just crazy that it was nuts. That fight was nuts.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ty just like made a decision in his head, man, because looking back at his past fights, you've seen Ty get knocked out before, you know what I'm saying? And, you see Derrick knock out everybody. So as soon as he got him on the ground, he was throwing those punches at him against the cage. I was like, the fight's over.
Yep,
me too. He got back up and he ate a couple more punches and started throwing back. And I was like, oh, it's a fight now. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I still didn't expect that. That knockout, I was still waiting for Derrick Lewis to come back until he got knocked out. And I was like, wow. That is crazy. But that's just the sport, man. You know what I'm saying? That is, you live by the sword, you die by the sword,
Those are two kind of carefree dudes who acted like they didn't really give a shit about the championship. And then over the years, we've seen them mature and they're both like legitimate hardcore martial artists now. You know what I mean? It's like they've turned their shit around. It's like right before our eyes. It's nuts. Like their whole demeanor, the way they talk, their training. I mean, what Derrick Lewis does in the CrossFit gym and his training and the flying knees and how and Ty's head movement. Now it's just nuts how they've improved. It's crazy. That's what's crazy about this sport too, especially in that weight class. You can get better before our eyes. In your weight class, you better be good already when you get there, right?
No,
but in that weight class, we can actually watch people kind of grow.
Well, I mean, even like that's what's like you said, what's incredible about the sport is you can watch the best at the top of the division. You see someone like Kamaru Usman become the world champion and still get better even after becoming the world champion. It's just like, it's like the sky is really the limit. We don't know how good someone can be at mixed martial arts yet. You know what I'm saying? And so that is to me one of the most exciting aspects of the sport. It's like if someone like Kamaru Usman can keep on getting better after becoming a dominant world champion, then what is there in the future? I mean, like kids coming up, I teach a kids class, and some of these kids, what they know at 8 and 9, it's kind of scary. You're like, man, dude, like when these kids grow up, they're gonna be doing things we did in video games. You know what I mean?
Right. But you're tough.
Yeah, man, I'm a little tough.
You are tough.
You know what I mean? I got a little chin on me.
And you're a little bit scary. Like no one sees it now who's watching the show, but like when you went in the ring with Trayshawn, you're scary. I'm like, oh God, this guy's fucking scary. Like if this dude came into the fucking liquor store and was like, he wants his money back because his 40 was cracked open, like I'd be like, yeah, here, take the register. I mean, you come in there fucking scary.
My RBF has gotten a lot better since I got married.
What's RBF?
Resting bitch face.
Yeah.
That's
to keep the wife at bay. What's wrong, honey? Nothing. Just got to keep you at bay.
No, it's really more, I think, and she won't get mad at me for saying this because she says this herself. She has extreme RBF. Like, it confuses me sometimes. Like, I'm like, hey, are you good? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, oh, your face didn't say that just now. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I think I've caught a little bit of that. And so sometimes I'll go into places and people think I'm angry and disgruntled. I'm like, no, man, I'm just chilling, baby. You
Dylan.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I got permanent stink face now. I'm trying to get scarier looking. I got a couple scars on my face. I got the cauliflower ear going. I'm trying to look more imposing. You know what I mean?
Did both you and Trey Sean know that you were gonna win? Like when you went in there, did you know you were gonna win? And when he went in there, did he know he was gonna win? Like before round one starts?
I have a really hard time telling exactly what was going on in Trayshawn. I knew I was gonna win. I knew I was gonna win. I like made that up, in training. I pushed myself like past my limits in training. I knew I was gonna win. And I'm even disappointed with the performance I put on. I should have put on a better performance. But Trayshawn, like, part of me believes that he 100% knew he was gonna win. It was his destiny. And then the other part of me does think that, there was a lot of insecurity. He had to prove it to himself. That was why he had to talk a lot, because he was trying to convince himself. So, um, yeah, I don't know how much of it was 100% belief or how much of it was him just trying to convince himself.
Right. You have a remarkable weight loss story. I mean, I don't know if anyone ever talks about, but what's the most you've ever weighed?
The most I ever saw on a scale was 290 and some change. That was the most
290.
that was the most I ever saw on a scale. And I think, I want to say I probably got to 300, or probably a little over 300, but after I saw 290, I stopped stepping on the scale for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and yep, there it goes.
And just so you guys know, that's Francis Ngannou he's standing next to
Ah,
right there.
man, I tell you, that guy right there, he should be. That's one of the crazy things about MMA, is like how many killers there are that no one knows about, right? Because they just get performance anxiety.
Yeah.
But in the gym or in the streets, they could take out like anybody, take off anybody's head. This guy right here, uh, is an absolute animal. But most people don't know that. I think he's like 4-3 as an amateur, but he just gets bad performance anxiety, and it's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? It makes me wonder how many people are out there that are just absolute assassins that can't turn it on at the right time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm a world class, probably the number one porn star in the world, but I just get a little performance anxiety, so no one
You get
knows.
what I mean. There's ways around that. Oh no, you know what I'm saying?
Don't ruin my story. Don't ruin my story, Brian. Let's just leave it at that. This is where don't ruin my story. So why? How did you get so big? How did you get to 300 pounds? And what was the motivate? How old were you? And what was the motivation to lose weight? And what's the least? Before we go there, what's the least you've ever weighed now?
Um, the least I've ever weighed now, probably, I want to say this morning I woke up at 197. This past fight, I got my walking around weight down to about 195. So, right now is probably the smallest I've walked around since I've been a teenager.
But
Um,
you do make 185.
yeah, yeah. No, I make 185, but that's a water cut. That's what the water cut at the end. And as far as like getting up in weight in the first place, it's funny, because I had 5 sisters growing up, and 4 of them lived with me. And it was like, you know uh what was it, limited resources, you know what I'm saying? And there was a bunch of hungry mouths. So, if a bag of chips came in and you didn't get your chips when they were there, you might not get any chips. You know what I'm saying? Or if we're eating dinner and you want seconds on the chicken, you better hurry up and eat your chicken and clear your plate so that you can get seconds on the chicken. And so now, like, as an adult, it's like,
You really
You know, I
felt
was
that
just,
as a kid? Like, oh shit, I better top off. I might not be eating breakfast tomorrow morning. I better eat double down
ooh,
on.
not like that. Like we weren't like we were middle class, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like I was like hungry, but it was just like you
But
know,
still,
it
I
was
get it.
like, yeah, as a kid, you know,
I get it.
there's 10 chicken wings on the at the table, and you
Yeah.
got to eat your two before you can get some more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I had a sister. I have a sister. She's probably listening now. And my mom would make a pitcher of orange juice, and then a couple hours later, I'd go to get a glass, and the whole fucking pitcher would be gone. I go into her bedroom, and there's 4 fucking cups of like
Yeah.
orange juice.
Yeah.
She was on
Yeah.
the same program as you are. She better fill up 4 cups and carry them to her room.
Yeah, yeah, man. And it's like, and I think that just kind of after high school sports, I was still eating. Like, you know, it was a competition, you know what I'm saying? Um, and, you know, I didn't have a whole ton of direction, you know what I'm saying? And so, um, yeah, I mean, it wasn't something uh that I really even noticed happening, you know what I'm saying? It was just like it kind of happened one day and I was just like, wow, I am really out of shape. Because even when I played high school sports, I prided myself on good conditioning and whatnot. And then I tried to go up a flight of stairs in college, and by the time I got to the top, I was like breathing heavy. And I was like, this is a problem. I need to start
How
working
tall are
out.
you?
6'1" and three
So
quarters.
so 300 pounds is like really fat.
Yeah,
Like
no, it's big.
embarrassed to take your shirt off fat.
I always carried it pretty well, but no, yeah, I
Yeah.
did. I wasn't ever thrilled to take off. I was, you know, honestly, until it got down to like 220, I wasn't thrilled to take off my shirt. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, you know,
Yeah.
I did it just because, you know, I was gonna own it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it wasn't something I was looking forward to.
Yeah. That's how I feel every day, every morning. Every day my wife sees me naked, I'm like, just fake it, like you don't care, like you're cool with it. It's
Hey,
does your wife
hey,
work
you
out?
know,
Does your wife work out?
yeah, yeah. Um, she's actually since she just had the baby, you know what I'm saying? She's trying to get back and get back to how she was before she had the baby. So she's been pretty disciplined about that. You know, I'm pretty proud of her. Um,
It
so
must be
yeah, man.
weird to do that, right? Especially when they're pregnant. When they're pregnant, they look so good and they're so proud of themselves and they're just like, they're walking around with their with their belly all out and shit and everything's all tight and their titties got all big and like they just look amazing. And then all of a sudden, bloop, baby
Yeah,
comes out. They're like,
yeah,
"Oh shit."
yeah, yeah.
Man,
No, yeah,
women
that's
go
what
through some shit.
that's what's crazy about the whole pregnancy process is, you know, you always think about like actual birth, but you don't think about what happens after because you know, usually ladies stay in recovery for the next couple of weeks. They're staying at home recovering. So, you
Or
know,
months, they got to eat and they got to eat good and keep them titties full and feed the baby and
yeah,
all that shit, right?
yeah. Well, it's like, you know, I never thought about the aftermath of birth until I
Yeah.
was in it. And I was like, holy cow, this is like just as serious as freaking right before the birth. Like it's a whole, yeah,
It's a serious open wound.
yeah, yeah. No, for real. That was crazy, man. I was sitting there. I was
You were
like,
there for the birth?
I was holding one of her legs.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, I was there for all
Oh,
3 of my kids. It's amazing.
no, it really like it's like yeah, you see the head pop out, and you like you know, like it really is it's too crazy. Like it was always really gross watching the videos, getting prepared for it, but I think that's because that was not my
It's
wife
not
and not my
yours.
baby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
not yours. Yeah, it's not gross at all when it's yours.
no, when it's your baby, you're just like, wow, this is terrific. And you know, I know she's not. She was like, get this thing out of me. But you know, I was like, this is crazy, man. And, you know, see his little head pop out. It comes out like an alien. You know, yeah, no, it's that I I I feel like seeing a birth has to change you at least a little bit. I feel like it's hard for someone to get through seeing a child be born and not change.
You know those plastic coin purses you may have had as a little kid? It's like shaped like an egg and like you squeeze it and it opens.
Yeah,
Are the do you know what Caleb, do you know what I'm talking about?
it has a little clips on it at the top.
It had no clips. It's just like it's just like a plastic thing and it's got like a slit in it. It looks like sorry, it's like silicone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, I always trip because the vagina's got like all these fucking layers to it. Like it's just a fucking like 10 hamburgers lined up. You're like, what the fuck is all this skin? It's like a fucking Shar-Pei down there. You're like, what a fucking mess it is down here. And then when the baby comes out, you're like, that's what all that extra skin is for. That shit gets as smooth as a fucking coin purse. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
It's like a coin purse. It's like, yeah, exactly. That's it. And it's all smooth and shit. And you're like, hey, the vagina's gone. And then the baby comes out. You're like, holy shit.
Man. Yeah. Like,
right? It's like a coin purse that drops babies.
I mean, it's like for real though, like it's almost a little unsettling. I can't look at those coin purses the same anymore. Like, you know,
right,
like, getting flashbacks. Like, oh no.
Did you see Platinum Perry spit that blood this weekend? Have you seen that going around? That's crazy.
That's
grosser to me than a fucking birth. That is nuts.
No, man, I love that stuff. Like, you know, I feel like that taps into your little romanticism as like a old fight fan. You know, someone just spitting blood out of their mouth and have blood all over their face in the middle of a war. Yeah, man.
That's the bare knuckle thing, Caleb. Platinum Mike Perry, he was spitting blood and they show it in slow motion. It's an incredible clip somewhere on Instagram. I saw it this morning. I was like, holy shit. He won that, right? He won?
Yeah, he won. All right, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes,
if
please.
You did a bare knuckle match. What do you think would hurt the most when the match was over?
My head. I'd have a headache.
That's what everyone thinks, right?
Right.
But
yeah.
I know a young lady. She's I think number 3 in the world in her weight class. Taylor Starling, and she told me it's your hands.
Oh, I think I was gonna have her on the show, Taylor Starling. Oh yeah,
you should have her on the show. She's a good interview. She's a crazy lady, dude. She's awesome.
Dude. I hear that sometimes in the UFC, like in that O'Malley fight against Chris Montanillo.
Yeah,
I think I heard O'Malley say his hands hurt for like a month.
No, and then especially like in bare knuckle, you're hitting them with your bare hands, and then you're blocking the punches with your bare hands. And so she told me there was a fight where it's like in the 3rd round, she wasn't punching as much. And, you know, the coach is telling her, like, go, go, go. And she's like, dude, my hands hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not that I don't have the conditioning, but my hands freaking hurt. So that's like bare knuckle. That is like a whole nother level of savagery. Like that stuff is badass.
Hey, when you go sit down, like to the fans, it looks like you're resting. But is that also when some of the pain sets in too? Like you could be in the 2nd round, everything's great. You go sit down and you're like, oh shit. All of a sudden you take some inventory of your body and you're like, fuck, my glute's locking up. My fucking pinky's broken. My fucking ear hurts. And are you like, fuck, I kind of wish I wasn't sitting down and I could have just gone through that round.
Yeah, you know what? I tell you what, for me, and I know for a lot of guys, it does work like that. That's why some people don't sit down in between rounds. For me, once the adrenaline gets going, like I need the fight to be over for it to like settle down. Like even when I'm in the corner, I don't really. After about 3 minutes into the 1st round, I stop feeling things. After I've been hit a couple times, because it's like I've registered how much it hurt.
I think someone tried to call him, and he's getting rid of the caller. Oh. You can talk to Bryan Battle later. Please call back later. Thank you. Hi, I'm here. We hear you, Bryan. He'll be back. He'll log back in. Oh yeah, I think that was great. I'm glad I thought of the coin purse, Caleb. That was great. Thank you for bringing that up. That really sums it up. I follow a live birth thing on Instagram. It's an account that just like shows live births.
Yeah,
and it's pretty crazy. I usually don't watch them though. They pop up and I'll probably watch one a month just to remind myself. It's a lot.
Yeah, we had to watch. We had to work in like labor and delivery when we first got started.
Yeah,
and it's like I've never seen so many like just innocent looking women just scream expletives for a long time. Like, and then it's just like relief, and then there's a baby.
Did you see any dudes pass out?
No, I just saw most of them would just like step out or like sit down and just be like, I'm good for now.
Yeah, I've seen some dudes. I've had some friends who said they had to leave the room during bursts so they don't pass out. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sevan podcast. We have a guest today, is Bryan Battle. We have to start all over, Bryan.
Oh man.
No, I'm joking. I'm
Oh
joking.
man. No, I'm sorry about that.
Nah, it happens all the time. Don't worry.
Yeah, I know. My wife gave me a buzz and it just shut everything down. I had to go back to the text and go back to the link. I was like, oh boy, this is.
No, it's good. It's my show. We do
Oh,
what you
man.
do what you want. So you were saying, so basically after 3 minutes into the first round, what does that mean? You've registered the pain.
Because I mean, when you first get hit, it's generally a shock. I mean, at least speaking for myself, you know what I'm saying? That first impact is generally a shock. And for me, um, it's like I
Uh-oh, we lost your audio. Take 3. Uh-oh. Oh, his wife called back. He's gonna have to text her and be like, yo, girl, I'm busy. You froze. You are frozen, Mr. Battle. I didn't ask him yet why he's Pooh Bear, did I, Caleb?
No, not yet.
Pooh Bear.
Waiting for it.
Okay. You back, Bryan? No, not back. You back, Bryan? Not back. Bye-bye. When I think of it as Pooh Bear, I think of Winnie the Pooh, not like poo as in like fecal matter, right? Is that how you think of it?
That's what I would assume as well.
Okay. I think you just had to go to the bathroom and you ran to the bathroom, Bryan, and you're just using your disconnection as an excuse.
You know what? I'll take it.
Take 3. So you register the pain and you're like, okay, it's not going to get worse than that. I'm good. And then you just go numb to the rest of the shots.
More or less, you know what I'm saying? It's like I feel things when they first land.
Yeah.
But then after that, after they first make contact, yeah, I'm generally okay. And then once the fight is over, once I sit down after the fight is over, like I'm back with the doctor, that's when I'm like, oh, I can't walk. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't move my left elbow. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I can't feel anything anymore. You know what I mean?
I heard you say in a press conference that you thought it would be your head that hurt, but it was your body.
Yeah, no. I had a pretty decent defensive shell because he didn't land that many head shots the whole fight.
Talking about Trey Sean?
Yeah, he had a few really impactful ones, but he didn't really, it wasn't a whole lot of headshot volume. But the kicks and yeah, I would say a lot of because a lot of those kicks I was circling into them too. So yeah, no, he kicks like a mule. I'll give him his credit. He kicks like a mule. But it wasn't something that was phasing me while we were going to battle.
That was a great line you used on Bisping, by the way, in that quote. That was epic. I loved that. I was laughing. He probably loves you for that too.
Oh man, and people are trying to say I did that by accident. I'm like, come on, man, that's Michael Bisping. Everybody knows he won the title with one eye. That's why.
Oh, he did. I didn't know that. He had only had one eye when he won the title.
Yeah, he had one eye when he won the title. Yeah. Yeah, I think he lost his eye after the not the Vitor Belfort fight. After he got heel kicked by Vitor Belfort, I think that's when he lost the sight in that eye.
Oh my goodness, I did not know. Oh, but now he doesn't even have an eyeball at all.
Yeah,
now it's a glass eye, right?
Yeah, he was like popping that thing out. It was crazy.
There was a fight you had against Krizan, Krizan, and I feel like when I watch people's earlier fights, that wasn't in the UFC, right?
No, sir.
I feel like referees let shit go a little longer than they need to outside of the UFC. Even in the UFC, you see it sometimes. But you have that guy against the fence, and he's not going down, but he's done. But the ref doesn't stop it. Are you like aware of that? Like at that point, like it's almost like you're a cook and you're cooking something in the oven and you know it's done, but the people haven't told you to take it out, so you don't, and it burned. I mean, what do you think as a fighter when that's going on?
No, you're right. I knew 100% that he was like toast, and I knew if I could just get his butt to hit the ground, then the ref
Yeah.
would step in. I knew that was the only thing keeping the ref from stepping in was the fact that he
Yeah,
was
he
in
was on
like
his feet,
zombie
but
mode.
he was kind of just, I don't even know how he was standing.
Yeah, I know that was he came to me afterwards. He doesn't remember anything from like halfway through the first round. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, and that's why eventually at the end of the second round, I said screw it. I shot for the leg because I knew once I took him down and landed some ground and pound, the ref was gonna stop it. You know what I mean? And so, but yeah, no, 100%. I knew he was
And
ready to
he's a
go.
great fighter. I almost feel bad that like he had to, well, not almost. I did feel bad he had to like I mean, he took 10 I mean, not your fault. I'm not blaming you at
Yeah,
all. But like, and maybe not even the rest fault. I don't know what you do at that point. The guy's standing, but clearly someone has to stop the like it. I mean, I'm a fight fan, but at some point, I guess even I have a threshold to where it becomes inhumane. I don't know
yeah,
what that threshold is, or
yeah. To me, as long as the person still has the will to fight, I'm okay with them fighting. You know what I mean? But once they're not there anymore, then it's like okay, let's call this. You know, once their will to fight is gone, then it's like there's no point in letting this keep on going. And yeah, no, he had definitely. That's what's interesting about that fight is he still had the will to fight. Like that was like the only thing
yeah.
keeping him on his feet was his will, but his faculty, his ability to win the fight was gone. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, no, there's definitely yeah, it's just one of those like brutal things about the sport. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of times where you see that where a guy wants to keep on fighting, but his body is just like, dude, we can't do this anymore. And
Yeah.
it's you know you could tell the refs are conflicted. They're like, I don't want to take it away from him, but he doesn't have it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
He looks like a newborn giraffe.
Yeah, yeah, for real. Uh, so and yeah, I don't really know how you fix that either. You know what I'm saying? Unless you just have like a standard, like an overall standard for when someone is gone, because the refing is to a degree subjective. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm okay with it. Anytime anyone badmouths, like I don't have any problem with early stoppage.
yeah,
Never, ever, ever. Even if I'm like, that was way too early, I'm still okay with it. I give the ref a pass. I'm way rather it. It doesn't happen often, 2 or 3 times a year, but you see shit that you're just like, come on, man. The guy was unconscious and he got hit 2 more times. Like what? Like, but I mean, as a ref, you can't even fall asleep for a second in there. You can't be like, oh
yeah,
shit, did I leave the oven on? I mean,
yeah.
you can't do that, right?
No, because yeah, if you're like 5 feet away, like you said, that's two shots, and like you the whole time you're running over there as fast as you can. You know, but yeah, no, being a ref is not an easy job, especially at like the highest level when there's everything at stake, and you know you make one mistake and you got fans jumping down your back. Yeah, being a ref, uh, it's not the best, and it's not like being a judge too, because people don't see the judges' faces. You know what
Right,
I'm saying? They
right.
know the judges' names, but they don't see the judges' faces. Like everyone
There's no
knows.
glory in being a ref.
No, no, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
zero. No one's ever like great refing. Everyone's always like, you fucked up.
yeah, facts. So,
Yeah.
no,
Do you know who you fight next?
I have no idea who I fight next. That is, I would like to fight in the summertime, but who I'm fighting next, I am unaware.
And do you have an agent? You have a guy that they call?
Jason House at Iridium Sports.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. God, that guy is everywhere.
Yeah, he's busy. He's a busy bee. He's a busy bee. I've been signed with them since I was 1-1. So, um, you know, like you got to give Jason his credit, man. That man is a hustler, man. That man, he like you said, he's everywhere, doing everything. Like if I text him at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know what I'm saying? I might get a text back. You know what I'm saying? It is crazy how on top of it he is.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I think Caleb, we didn't have him on the show, right? I think I've been begging him to. Has he been on the show? No,
No,
but
not yet.
I've begged him, and we're close. We got to be getting close. We got to be getting close. I'm just gonna keep interviewing his fighters until he has to come on. Okay, fine. How does that go down? Will you just be working in the gym and then like you'll take a rest between rounds and you'll pick up your phone and there'll be a text, hey, give me a call, Bryan, I think we have a fight for you, and then you pick it up and you call him and he's like, hey, what do you think about? Is it literally like that? That simple?
more, more or less, yeah. More or less, yeah. It's like, um, I mean, it's not even. what do you think about this person? Or normally it's like when Trey Sean pulled out of the finale, I just got a call and it was like, hey, you're fighting Gilbert in the finale. I was like, all right. I didn't think me and Trey Sean were gonna run it back immediately because of his injury. But I just got a call. It's like, hey, your next fight is Trey Sean. I'm like, okay. Well, so it's really especially at this point in my career, I don't think I have enough clout to really go demanding fights with people yet, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of just at it all anybody, anywhere, anytime kind of stage, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to get better in the gym so I can whoop everyone's ass, you know what I mean?
Is the goal to win the championship?
Yeah, absolutely. That is, and it's getting weird. Like it now, I'm saying that out loud to people. And, it's kind of daunting because like once you say it out loud, then it's on record.
Right.
Um, but yeah, man, no, that's to me, I got into the sport. It wasn't something where, I like the fame and the money that came with it. I mean, all that stuff is nice. I enjoy it, but I'm one of those people that I would have been fighting in someone's basement if it was still illegal. You know what I mean? I would have been a part of some kind of fight club. I just enjoy it so much, and I want to test myself and see what I can do. I feel like at this point in the UFC, it's so much more than like punches and kicks. It's overcoming obstacles, like figuring out puzzles, how to beat these monsters, um, and so
It is a nutty division you're in. It is a
yeah,
nutty. It's amazing how good uh the number 2 guy is so underranked. He should be like the second most famous fighter in the UFC. Whitaker.
yeah,
It's
no,
like I like the fact that he got in there twice and did that with Yoel Romero. I mean I've only been watching the sport maybe 10 years, but I've never seen any. That's about as high as accomplishment as I could give anybody.
hmm
And yet there's this dude Israel in your weight class that's even gnarlier, and it's like, what the fuck is going on in that weight class? It's not. And
and
then
you
you have that
saw
guy in the 171s who picks hazmat, who picks guys up and
Gazma,
yeah, and carries them over to the edge and throws them on the ground like he caught a wild animal and showing Dana. I mean, it's
and
bizarre, some of these guys.
I tell you, it is also the last guy to knock out Stylebender in kickboxing is in the
Yes.
UFC now too.
Yes,
Uh,
I saw that guy. Whoever he fought last, I remember the commentators like being kicked by this guy is like being hit by a piece of mahogany, and then he kicked the dude and put the dude out cold. It was like the dude got hit by a piece of wood.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's that
No,
guy's name?
I want to say it's Pereira. Is it Alex Pereira? You know, some Brazilian machine.
And he's training with Glover in
Yeah.
Maine.
hmm I think they're in. Are they in Maine? I thought they were in California. Is
No,
that is?
I don't think he's. I think that's his coach. San Luis Obispo. Who is that? Hackelman. You're talking about Hackelman, where Liddell trained.
No, because I know
But I feel like Glover
Glover
has a.
wasn't
I
there.
feel like Glover's in Maine now. I feel like he has his own camp now, or
I
Vermont,
know
or somewhere in the
he
Northeast.
he has his own camp. And honestly, is one of those things I don't have no idea where it actually is. I just always assumed that he had his camp in California. You know what I mean? If I
No,
don't know
he's
where
some.
someone's camp is, I assume it's in either Florida or California or Vegas, one of those three.
Yeah, no. Glover is now in the Northeast, and I think there's a town in the Northeast that has more Brazilians per capita. Yeah, Connecticut. Yeah, I think that town Bethel has more Brazilians than anywhere like outside of Brazil in the world, or some weird shit like that, or maybe the most in the United States. I think I heard something. Wow,
Really?
he's a fifth
That's
degree black
interesting.
belt. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, right? They're not
Yeah.
made for that. Hey guys, you got to move closer to the equator. What are you doing? What are you doing? What do you think about this guy Hazmat? Is that is he as good as it seems, or is he untested, or like? I mean, I guess he's gonna fight Gilbert Burns here coming up, and we're gonna find out.
Yeah, man, I would love to train with them because I want to figure out. You know what I mean? Because at this point, I mean, he's a stud. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely a stallion. You know what I mean?
So you believe it?
Uh,
That's like real. That's real man.
you can't do what he's doing to guys unless you are that dude. Now, what I will say is no one is really standing up to him at all. You know what I'm saying? He has like one of those auras that is making people melt before they even get inside, before they even throw a punch. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so, yeah, no, this fight with Gilbert should be a lot of fun because Gilbert's not gonna, punk out. You know what I'm saying? Like Gilbert's
Yeah.
gonna fight this dude, and so I want to see what he looks like in a second round when he's been fighting somebody.
Yeah. I saw Darren Tills over there. Did Darren go to Sweden? Is that guy trains in Sweden?
I believe so. Yeah, I know he's a native of Sweden, so I think Darren Till had to go out to Sweden, and that's
Can
been
you
funny.
can you just go ahead? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, 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 no. Go ahead. No, I just
Can you just get on a plane and go over there and walk into that gym?
that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. Um, like I assume they seem like they're not too picky. You know what I'm saying? They seem like they're like, hey, if you want to come and work hard, like let's go and work hard. You know what I'm saying? They're just in there just grinding. You know what I mean? Um, but I think I have enough clout that if I went over there, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, tough, tough, tough champ. Come on, let's go train." You know what I mean? I think they'd like to test me as much as I'd like to test them. So, uh,
Yeah, you
yeah,
need someone in Sweden to be like, "Hey, you can stay at my house for a month," and then someone else over here to like sponsor you to fly you over there
facts. You know what I'm
and
saying?
and go. That would be such a cool thing to do. What a cool little movie that would be too. Hey, I'm the tough champ, and I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna report back. I'm gonna train with this dude and report back to you if he's the real thing.
Facts.
That would be so. That would be so cool, and show the whole thing like the first day you walk in there.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like
yeah,
surprise them. I'm here. Let's
yeah.
train.
No footage cut. If I get my ass whooped, I get my ass whooped. That's it. You know what I mean?
Is training are dudes cool in training or does training get intense?
Oh man, training has to get intense.
It
Training
does.
has to get intense.
So it
No,
has to be both. It has to get intense and dudes have to be cool.
I mean, there's a time and place for it all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the bulk of the time you have to be working drills and doing repetitions to develop that muscle memory. So when you're drilling and stuff, you can't really, um,
No asshole mode.
yeah, you can't be a meathead. But when you're training, you get when you're like hard sparring, or you're drilling fast. You know what I'm saying? It can get, me personally, I like my training to keep me sharp so that you know I understand, like I have to deal with the same consequences in training or worse consequences in training than I would in a fight. So yeah, no, training can get pretty intense. There's been some times, where I was beyond my limit during training.
What do you mean? Like you're like it's starting to get over and it's starting like here's maximum training and then here's fighting and like next thing you know you're kind of like fighting a dude in training.
Um, I mean, like physically, like like you do sparring, and then you start drilling. Like I'll give you an example. There's one time when I was an amateur, I did all my sparring rounds. You get a new person every round, and then we were doing these cage takedowns and takedown defense drills. And the first round, I still have enough energy where I'm defending the takedowns pretty well. But then, as the rounds are going on, people are starting to, as fresh bodies are rotating, you know, uh, like people are starting to like not just take me down, but they're picking me up and slamming me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
so I'm exhausted. I'm getting slammed on the ground over and over again. The round ends, and I'm sitting there, and like my eyes are like watering up. My body's like in shock. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there. My like arms are shaking. You know what I mean? And the bell rings. My coach is like, "All right, next round, let's go." And I'm just like, fuck, man. I mean, you have to make a decision right there. You know what I'm saying? I think that's that like 40% thing that the Navy SEALs got going on, where um, it's like, okay, what am I going to succumb to right now? You know what I'm saying? Am I going to get up and finish this round, or am I going to sit here and lay here in shock? You know what I mean? And I think you need sessions like that to really prepare you for what's going to happen inside the cage.
You do need those. I'm so exhausted. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. But keep going. Did you
Yeah.
ever throw up? Did you ever throw up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like throwing up is like a badge of honor at our gym. Like if you throw up, then everyone breaks out. They're like, ah, we're a bunch of meatheads. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I'm not puking all the time, but there's definitely I've definitely puked my fair share, and I've definitely been on the cusp of puking many more times.
Who was the guy that Sean Strickland just fought? Do you remember that? Who was
Jack
that?
Hermanson.
Oh yeah, Jack Hermanson. Did you watch that fight?
Yes, that was an interesting fight.
Have you ever been that patient in a fight, as patient as those two guys were, or do you think I'm mischaracterizing that?
Well, I mean, even Jack said afterwards, he said he didn't like that performance and he felt like he treated it like a light sparring match.
I liked it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're being technical, and no one was like overcommitting to too much.
I think you and Sean Strickland would be an insane fight.
Man, I think that
You
would
guys
be
would
fun.
it would be nuts.
That would be a lot of fun. Me and Sean, we would throw down because um, yeah, I'd be sitting there in the pocket with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
But I really appreciated Sean more than ever because of how patient he was. He was giving himself a hard time. I didn't mind the fight at all.
yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was kind of like watching, like, just instead of a painter working really fast, just watching some strokes.
And I mean, it's interesting watching him too because he has a different style, but he really has like mastered his way of doing things. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, it was clean. He's not there. No, it was not sloppy at all. It's so fucking clean. Like, you can see what's going on.
it's clean. There's no wasted movement. I mean, his offense almost deflects the other person's offense, so he's being offensive and defensive at the same time in like a weird way. So, I mean, it's definitely interesting to watch. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, no, that's someone where it's another person where it's like, obviously he's like what, number 6 in the world right now, so uh, they wouldn't put us together anytime soon. But if I
Right.
could get into Extreme Couture, I would love to do a round with them. You know what I'm saying? I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Where do you train? What's the name of your training place?
I train at Highest Stand MMA in Matthews, North Carolina.
Are there any other 185ers you train with?
I train with there's 85ers in the area and we'll bring people in, but my main training partner is Roger Pratcher, and he's a pro fighter out of my gym. He's been in the gym longer than me, you know what I'm saying?
What weight?
And he's an 85er. He's fighting
Okay.
at 85 or 205 in that range, but generally 85. And he's just like another person where no one knows who he is right now, and his record doesn't show how good he is. But he gives me fits every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Tell, how did you get picked for the Ultimate Fighter? How does that go down? Is that just another Jason just calls you and is like, "Hey, you want to do this?"
That was more me saying, I hit up Jason. I was like, "Hey, they got my weight division. I think I'd be good for this contest." And he was like, "You know what? I think you would be good for this contest." And so, he used his connections. I got a little interview. It was interesting because of COVID. The whole process was different. There was supposed to be tryouts, but it got canceled because of COVID. It was really like we started talks in like late November, and I didn't know if I was actually going to be on the show until they had already flown us out to Vegas, and that was in like April, you know what I mean? And so like all the way from November to April when I was in Vegas, I didn't know if I was actually going to be on the show. So
Even when you went to Vegas, you weren't sure, right?
no, even when we went to Vegas, like they're like, "All right, on Monday you're flying out to Vegas." So I was like, "Oh, so I'm on the show." And they were like, "Just fly out to Vegas. We'll talk about it when you get here." I was
Did you see any dudes get flown out there who had to walk away?
I didn't see them walk away, but yeah, I saw some
You heard.
guys during the medicals because we each had our medical group, and so you see guys in your medical group, and then you see who got selected, and you're like, "Oh, dang, man, they didn't
Oh,
make
so
it
there were
past the
dudes who flew out there and then like didn't make the show.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. And then when they're on the show and they're picking the teams, you were the last dude picked?
I was the last guy picked from my team. There was actually the first guy I fought was the super last pick, but I was the last guy picked from my team. Yeah.
And you were on Volkanovski's team.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then you won the whole thing.
Yes, sir.
Has that ever happened before in the 29 seasons?
Oh, it's happened before. I want to say Kelvin Gastelum's like a good example of it. I can't
Oh,
think
that's
of.
right. That's right. They kept telling you, don't worry, Kelvin.
No, and that drove me crazy too. Like I was
Yeah.
like, people were like, yeah, you can't really take it personally. I was like, bro, I'm taking it personally, bro. They
Yeah,
picked
you
me
can.
last. What do you mean? Like, what are you
Yeah,
talking
you
about, dude?
can.
They thought all these guys were better than me, man. I'm taking it
Yes,
100%
they
personally.
did. Yes, you
You
should.
know?
Hey, in high school when in PE, I would remember they'd pick teams. So the PE teacher would be like, okay, today you're gonna play soccer, and they'd be like, John, you're a captain, and Carol, you're a captain, and the captains would start picking teams, and of course, everyone picks all the boys first, right?
Yeah.
All the boys would get picked, then a couple girls, then I would get picked. Like everyone knew I sucked at everything,
They
and
did you dirty, man. That's cold blooded.
it was, but I knew it. Like I was cool with
Yeah.
it. Like it never
Okay.
hurt my
Okay.
feelings.
I
Like I
understand.
was,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I wasn't like hiding and shit. Like I was like the funny kid. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I thought it was funny, and I knew it. I was fucking sucked. Not only did I suck, I was lazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, I'll do
Yeah.
goalie. You
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
We didn't have cell phones then, but I would have been the kid playing goalie on my cell phone.
Yeah.
So
Thanks. I hear you.
but I get it. Like they picked you last because they thought you fucking sucked.
Yeah. More or less. And I said it after my fight. This guy Paul, one of Ortega's coaches, he leaned over after the teams were picked. He was like, if you did your research, you would have known who to pick. And then just like it bothered me. So I was like, hey, dude, like, I mean, it's like one thing to hype up your people, but if you're putting down other people
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
process, you know what I mean? I'm like, bro, you don't even know me. You know what I mean? And so yeah, just like little things like that bothered me a little bit about that. But it's all rectified now. We got it all settled.
Yeah, you sure did. There twice. You won the title twice in one season. There's a professional arm wrestler named Travis Bajan.
Okay.
And he's the greatest left-handed arm wrestler arguably that's ever existed, and he's a fantastic right-handed arm wrestler. And I used to film him, and people would always like, some people didn't like him because he was a braggart. He talked about how great he was. But what I loved about him is he always talked about how great other people were too. So he wasn't one of these guys that he'd be like, this guy's the greatest left-handed arm wrestler since blah, blah. He's amazing. I can't believe how great he is. I can't believe. And then he'd go out there and beat him. It's like, I just beat the greatest fucking arm wrestler. And you know what I mean? And I thought, dude, you are fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
He would just build dudes up, and then go out there and just fucking slay their ass. And it would be like, holy shit, I get what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then he would be, it was so good. Yeah, it was. I just thought, wow, you don't really see that too much in the fight game. And I know fighting's way different than arm wrestling. You got to get, here's the guy right here. There he is right there. Just like holding the guy. Bam.
Yeah, look at him. He's playing it up too. He's a showman.
Yeah. Oh, he's such a showman. He's so good. He's so good. He's so good. He's
That has
so
to be
fun.
so demoralizing.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
He probably is afraid he's going to snap that guy's arm off. Oh my goodness. Don't ever arm wrestle. Fuck up your fight career.
I'm watching this and I'm like, oh man, it's hard. I'm watching this. I'm like, dude, why are you even still fighting at this point? I'm like, after getting like, it's different getting taunted in like a fight and getting taunted while you're arm wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Like you're trying your best and this guy is still like playing around. It's like, okay, let me arm wrestle someone a little bit smaller than this dude. This guy's out of my weight class.
Do you want to avenge your loss, your one pro loss? Like, is that something some fighters I know want to like rematch, and other fighters like, fuck it, I don't care?
No, I already tried.
You did.
I already tried to. I think he is retired from the sport.
Okay.
He's cool dude. Cool dude. I definitely, because that was one. Oh man, that still haunts me to this day. I didn't realize this during the fight, but I actually knocked him out and broke his orbital bone. And then I took him down, and when he hit the mat, he woke up and put me in an armbar.
Oh shit! I saw that in a fight 2 weeks ago at the UFC. 2 girls fighting. Did you see that fight?
No, I didn't see that one, but I heard about it.
There was a girl. She had huge fake tits. She was like from Ecuador or something.
Yeah.
And she fucking stiff jabbed this black belt fucking chick. who I think this other chick, it's crazy. This is totally inappropriate, but fuck it.
Yeah.
This one
Yeah.
chick comes out there
Yeah.
with big old fake titties, like from Guatemala or something.
Yeah.
The chick she's fighting is a black belt stripper.
Okay.
She punches the fucking stripper, black belt stripper
yeah.
chick, knocks her the fuck out.
Yeah.
Gets on top of her, and the black belt stripper armbars or chokes out. I can't remember. I think it was armbars the fake titty girl. And I just say the fake titty girl because
jumped into
I just
Joe
can't.
Rogan's arms, right?
Yes, she's amazing.
Yeah.
I would love to have her on the show.
Yeah.
I just can't believe. I'm shocked that a professional fighter would get fake tits. I just don't get the. It just seems like wait till you're done or something, or don't get them ever
like
or something.
a good move. Throws your bounce. I mean, granted, I can't.
It's like it would be like having a hard. It was like popping 2 Viagra before you get into a fight.
Yeah,
the last thing I want is a big old dick in my pants when I'm in there fighting, right?
It's like, granted, I've never been a chick with breasts before, but I just imagine that being really inconvenient. You know what I mean? Like just having long hair is inconvenient. You know what I mean? So like, having a whole nother part of your body that you got to worry about getting hit,
or just the weight. You gotta make weight with it. It's like, hey, you want to fight me? I'm gonna wear a weight vest.
Yeah. I mean, how much weight does that put on though? I don't know how much.
Probably not much, but I follow this one, like a professional bodybuilder girl, and she just had a baby, and she had these huge, just the porn star ones, and she had them taken out, and she commented, she's like, I can breathe again.
Wow.
Meaning they were compressed, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like the ladies, you don't need to do that.
Wow.
Just stop. You don't need to do that.
She couldn't breathe. That is crazy.
It's common to gain a small amount of weight, up to 5 pounds, immediately after breast augmentation. Small percent. They rarely may weigh more than 1 or 2 pounds. But even 1 or 2 pounds, just like pulling on your chest.
Yeah,
constantly.
You talk about cutting weight. Those 2 pounds are crucial.
Yes, especially for you, right?
Oh yeah,
you're a big dude.
Oh, yeah, I tell you, my worst weight cut I ever had was I was an amateur, and I was supposed to fight at 205. I was supposed to fight for the 205 title. But my opponent dropped out, and the opponent for the 185-pound title dropped out. And so that was another situation when my coach just messaged me. He was like, hey, your opponent dropped out. You're fighting for the 185-pound title right now. And I think I was eating a cookie when he sent me that text. And it was in like 2 weeks. I was like, oh.
Did you finish eating the cookie?
No, I did not finish eating the cookie. Thanks, Kevin Smith.
You do sound like Vin Diesel.
I've gotten that before. I've gotten Vin Diesel, Forrest Griffin, and Seth Rogen. Those are the
maybe your laugh is a little bit like Seth Rogen, but you sound just like Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel sounds just like you.
Hey, there we go. I mean, but no, this one weight cut on Monday, I was 222 pounds. On Friday, I was 187 pounds, and they were same day weigh-ins. So I literally had to rehydrate and fight that night after I weighed in. It wasn't.
Did you win?
Yes, sir. And the young man I beat actually, he just got cut from the UFC, but he actually went on, and he had a pretty good pro career. He's still fighting. He's fighting for Khabib's promotion now. But yeah, no, it was a title fight too in North Carolina. So it was 5 4-minute rounds. So it was a 20-minute fight. But yeah, no, but it was something, about cutting weight's almost like spiritual. You know what I mean? It's like the more you have to go through during that weight cut, it's kind of like establishing your resolve going into the fight. You know what I mean? You're like, if I'm willing to do this just to get into the fight, what am I going to do once I actually start fighting? You know what I mean?
I hear you, but the part that freaks me out is when they say that the weight cut causes that sac around your brain with the fluid to dry up a little bit and makes it so that when you rehydrate, you can't take a punch as well. That part scares the shit out of me for the fighters. I'm like, oh God, like you actually hear people use that as an excuse for why they lost the fight. And you kind of like believe it. You're like, shit, that punch didn't seem to have beat the guy in the last fight, but in this fight it did. And he's saying that the weight cut was too much.
Yeah. I mean, you have to do your due, you know what I'm saying? You have to be responsible before you make your cut. You know what I'm saying?
Which you can't do if it's 2 weeks notice and you're going from 220 to 185 or whatever.
I don't think I'd ever do that again. That was pretty freaking rough. But I mean, we got through it. We got the W.
You're
Uh,
basically starving yourself and exercising, right?
yeah, and not drinking the last several days. So yeah, it was pretty. That was like I dropped 10 pounds the first day, 10 pounds the next day, and then after that it was a really big struggle getting the last however many pounds off. Like it became like grueling after that.
Yeah, it's like
And
15 more.
yeah, and I did it the wrong way too. I definitely should have did everything in one day, but I tried to do it, spread it out over the week, which made the first couple days, like I said, were great, and then the tail end was just miserable. So, lesson learned. Won't do that ever again. But we got through it. You know what I mean? We're still
Yeah.
alive, so.
There was in one of the interviews you're talking about like some sweets that you eat that aren't high in calories. What was bubble something? But you said they were expensive. I was trying and I couldn't figure out what you were talking
Smart
about.
sweets.
Oh yeah, what are smart sweets? What is that? Smart sweets. Can you Google that, Caleb? Smart sweets. What is that?
It's like a vegan candy.
Smart sweets. So when I heard that, I wanted to tell you about this thing that I do. If you need sweets, especially like before you go to bed at night or you start craving sugar, you can take frozen berries. Oh, Kiss My Keto, is that it?
Kiss My Keto isn't, because the ones I get are actually called Smart Sweets,
Oh, they're
but
actually
that's
called, okay.
basically, that looks like what it is, more or less.
You can take frozen berries and put them into a bowl and then pour heavy cream on them, just a little bit, and the heavy cream freezes on the berries like Magic Shell. Do you remember Magic Shell as a kid?
Yeah.
The heavy cream will just freeze on frozen berries, and then you'll have this bowl, and it's like as good as ice cream. Well, not quite. I'm lying a little bit, but
But good
you can
enough.
super low. Berries are super low in glycemic index, like it's nothing. Anyway, I thought I would
That'd
share
be
that with you.
good too, because
Frozen
I can
berries with
give.
some heavy cream, and the heavy cream's so good.
Yeah, I was about to say, and that could probably, that's good, because you give your muscles just like enough sugar to like have a little bit of juice the next day.
Yeah, and then basically it's just fat. It's basically just fat you're eating from the heavy cream.
Yeah.
Uh, you said that the house was pretty calm in The Ultimate Fighter, and you said that everyone was pretty cool, pretty chill, like at least calmer than you expected, right? Less
Yeah.
tension.
Mm,
But there was the occasion when there would be some drinking, right?
yeah. Oh
Is
yeah.
that a weird being in a room with like some dudes are cool when they drink. Like most of my friends are cool, but there's always like one asshole that's like all of a sudden like wants to wrestle or it's just it's just too much. Like they got their arm around you and they're trying to be loving, but they got you in a headlock and it hurts or
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
like, what the fuck, dude? Does any of that? Any guys get drunk? And you're like, ah, dude, you're not a drinker. You're not made to drink.
It was weird. I think because of the stigma from drinking on the show. One thing I'll say too that rubbed me wrong. Not that I'm still upset or anything, but Ortega's coaches, they told the guys on their team, they said, win or lose, if you drink after a fight, we're gonna separate you from the rest of the group. Which I thought was weird, because you're dealing with a bunch of grown men who are fighting in a cage. You know what I mean? It's
What do you
like,
mean
I'm drinking.
separate you? Like meaning you're not good? Like that doesn't show discipline?
Yeah, yeah, more or less. Like, you're not going to be training. Like, we're going to have the people who are disciplined and doing the right thing over. Like, after Aaron and Ryder lost, they were actually chastising them. Like, the night they lost, they came over. They're like, "What are you guys doing? Why are you drinking right now? You can get back into the which they did have a chance to get back in the competition, but drinking one night wasn't going to cost them that. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and but what I will say is, we didn't drink a whole lot on the show, but when we did drink, we had a good time. There was no drunken idiots. At least I say that because I was hanging out with the people who were drinking, but
Right. But it was
it,
cool.
no, it was cool. It was cool. There was, like, I wish they showed more house stuff on the show. You know what I mean? Because then you could really got to see everyone's personality, and there was a lot of funny, cool moments that happened in the house. Um, but no, yeah, no, we just did like dumb, happy-go-lucky stuff when we got drunk. You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
We played like speed Jenga and whatnot. There weren't The only fights that happened were when people were like stone cold sober, and there weren't even really any fights. You know what I mean? But the almost fights were only when people were stone cold sober.
How about the dudes who smoke weed? Are you allowed to smoke weed in the house?
So,
Do they ever show that?
like,
It seems like all the fighters smoke weed, and then I'm trying to think if I've ever seen anyone smoke weed on the show. I mean, I've only watched a few seasons.
so what I will say is I think if someone got a hold of some weed, I don't think uh they wouldn't get kicked off the show, right? Like if someone, I believe if someone got caught smoking weed, they wouldn't get kicked off the show. I don't think the producers like it though.
So you can't just be in your room just with a joint, like
Like
scrolling through your Instagram.
well, yeah, definitely. I mean, you don't even have your phone, so
Right. Okay.
it's, but
Reading the Bonner book.
you can't bring any books but the
No,
Bible, and yeah, you can only bring religious books like the Bible or the Quran and stuff like that. Yeah.
you can't bring the
There,
Bonhoeffer book in.
no, you can't bring Bonhoeffer. I was gonna bring some Robert Greene with me this time. I was gonna go on a Robert Greene marathon, but they said no, sir, not today. There,
Wow.
like there was one time. If you go, do you know Craig Jones?
The guy, B team.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
He
don't know
was.
him, but I know of him. I know Nikki. I've had Nikki on the show 3 times.
Oh, okay, that's dope. That's dope. Well, you should talk to Craig. He's a riot. But
Okay.
there is one point. I think it's on his Instagram where he came into the house and he had 2 joints in
Oh
his
shit.
mouth when he
Oh
came into
shit.
the house, and we were all cheering him on like he was a hero. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
were like, "All hail Craig Jones! All hail!" And then, he tried to disperse the paraphernalia, but the producers came in and shut that down real quick because of liability issues. But who knows what would have happened if he didn't come in such a grandiose fashion? Like if he just came in and snuck us all a
Yeah.
joint. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what would have happened? But no,
I'm
there.
gonna invite him on the show right after this because
Yeah,
that's worth having him on the show just to ask about that. Ask Craig Jones. I just made a note here. 2 joints on Tough season 29. You entered the house.
yeah.
That's
No,
awesome. What a
no.
great story.
That man he is a wild man. No, Craig Jones would probably be an awesome guest. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Have you met Nikki? Have you talked to
No,
Nikki?
well, I want to, like I said, I mean, it's funny, you're on the show and you make all these plans to travel all over the place because you meet
Yeah.
all these new people, and
Yeah.
then you get back to reality and it's like, oh, I'm not going anywhere. This is,
Yeah.
you know
I
what I
got a
mean?
wife. I got a kid.
Yeah, the reality sets in of your actual responsibilities. But no, that is, especially when stuff settles down from COVID, going out to Houston and training with the B team is at the top of my list. That is one of the places I got to get out to. Just because all those guys are so nasty, man. Nicky Ryan's a cool guy.
Nikki I haven't met
Rodriguez. Okay.
Rodriguez. Yeah. Yeah. Every show he comes on, he becomes cooler and cooler. He's young. He's serious.
Yeah.
He's fun. I like him when he comes on the show. He usually has his shirt off. He always has his shirt off. I usually interview him. He's sitting in his bathroom. He's cool. He's serious. But I want him to be a regular on the show. Like, so anytime he has a match, I usually have to DM him like 10 times and he's like, oh, okay, I'll come on. So last time he came on, he's cool like this. I'll be like, dude, why do I got to DM you so many times? I don't talk to anyone after I lose. I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? So we keep it real.
Yeah.
He's cool. Yeah. I'm a huge fan. Just because I'm just a huge fan of Nicky Rodriguez. I just love his I just love this attitude. I think Donaher or his coach said one time that one of the best lines he's heard in jiu-jitsu is Nicky Rod said, if I get my fucking hands around your face and lock my hands or whatever.
Anywhere below your neck, yeah.
Yeah. And I just love that. Like, oh, good. You know what I mean? What a great attitude to have. I just
he's a bull. He is
a
bull, especially in grappling. Like he's probably one of the most fun grapplers to watch because he's just such a dynamic, explosive, strong, fluid. Like it's aesthetically pleasing watching him grapple. You know what I'm saying?
When I think of man. Like if you look up man, I just think like, oh, there's a picture of that dude, like just eating a steak or something, you know, like that. I just think he's such a man child. He's like, he's just such man. It just oozes off of him. There's a woman.
He's a gorilla.
There's this woman. There's a couple women in CrossFit like that. Sarah Sigmund's daughter, Danielle Brandon. Do you know who they are?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
so I
man.
just think like when I see like Danielle Brandon walk out onto the field to play or Sarah Sings on, I'm like, holy shit! Like they just pulled woman out of the dictionary and just threw her out there. It's like just like yeah,
No,
it's
I mean,
cool. I had Danielle and Nikki on at the same time once, and I timed that on perfect so I could see what that would look like. I just wanted
yeah,
to see like like if you're arranging flowers, you'd be like, I
yeah.
just want to see what it was like that. I was like arranging humans.
Just
It was
so
like
much muscle.
podcast eugenics.
Dude,
You
I
know,
mean,
it's like fuck.
those CrossFit ladies, man. Like some of them, like I feel like that has to be like mad intimidating as a dude sometimes. You know what I'm saying? You're like around these ladies who got bigger shoulders. I mean, I feel like all of them are built better than I am. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
I'm
they're
like, hey, man,
amazing.
like people who make it into the CrossFit Games, like all those people just in general are like pretty ridiculous.
It's
Like,
like it's kind of like the UFC too. It's a shame, like, and not a shame. It's just sport. But the 40th fittest dude and the 40th dude on the roster, they're still savages.
yeah,
But there's
yeah,
just crazy levels to the game, and like you see people like Israel, like it's just like holy shit.
yeah. No, it's like I mean, there can only be one, which
Yeah,
is like a harsh reality, a very harsh reality. But there can really only be one. And so, like you said, I mean, if you're the 40th best guy on the planet, I mean, that's cool. That's a major accomplishment. There's a lot of people on the planet, but no one cares about the 40th best guy on the planet. You know what I mean?
right.
Uh, and so,
But
yeah,
sometimes it's close at the top. Like when I see Camaro and Colby, and there's probably one or two others in there, and now we have Hazmat. You're like, okay, or Gilbert. You're like,
yeah,
okay, like this thing is seems close. But then you see stuff like you see Paulo Costo, and you're like, holy shit, he's unbeatable. Then you see Martin Vittori and Israel and Whitaker, and just all these people start dispatching of him. And you're like, holy shit. There's levels to this. Or
there's
Yoel.
levels to it.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
it's
levels
nuts.
to it.
It's nuts. Or even look at Glover, what he's done at
Yeah,
his age. Absolutely fucking
he figured it out. You know what I mean? Like you know, he like the way he wanted to fight wasn't working out, and he just figured out a way to just take everybody out in dominant fashion. You know what I mean? What he's done is incredible.
did you see the fight between him and John Jones, Glover
Yeah,
Teixeira?
way back in the day. Yeah,
It almost seems this is totally it was unreal the punches John Jones took from Glover. Glover punched him as hard as he could right in the face a few times. It was
hmm
completely it was like almost like he was on PCP or something. It
yeah.
was it was completely I don't think I've ever seen anyone fight John Jones like that. I mean, and then obviously John Jones beat the fuck out of him, but it
Yeah.
was nuts. It was
Uh,
absolutely nuts.
well, the problem with hitting John is he's so tall and long. You're usually catching him at the end of your punches. You know what I'm saying? You're not hitting him at the sweet spot normally. Uh, and yeah, especially like Glover. You know, he's heavy-handed, but he's not super explosive. And so covering that distance is definitely. I mean, obviously, it's a challenge for everyone because no one's really beaten John Jones yet. So, um, but you know, it would have been interesting to see if he would have tried to grapple him. If the Glover that's fighting now would have fought John back in the day, uh, that would have been interesting because no one's been able to take John down and keep him on his back. So uh, that would have been a little bit more fun matchup wise to me than the first one was.
Is there a dude you want to fight? Is there anyone in your head?
Like next or just future, like just fight
Ne-
sometime some.
I was thinking next, but just sometime.
Um, you know, like you said, the people, anybody who's got a lot of hype on them, and people, if there's someone that people don't know if this guy can be beat, I kind of want to fight him. You know what I'm saying? Like, um,
So
you
you're
know,
up for a test.
that's what, yeah, that's why I got into the sport, man. I want to see what I'm made of. You know what I mean? Um, but in the in the near future, I have no idea. I have no idea who I'm gonna be fighting because um you know, I'm not in ranked territory yet. So, you know, I'll probably fight someone unranked and, you know, uh, there's a wide variety of guys in the unranked realm. There's some guys who are in the UFC and you're like, how'd you get into the UFC? And then there's some guys where they're not ranked, but they could probably take out a guy who's in the top 10. You know what I mean? So right now, my big focus is just getting myself to the next level. You know what I mean? To level up myself. So,
Do you see it happening?
oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. No, the improvement has been uh extraordinary, especially over the last since the finale, since I really gotten to focus on training and whatnot. My improvement has really, really, really taken off. Um, and yeah, no, it. I mean, at this point, there's kind of like a desperation. You know what I'm saying? It's like I have to get better, or else I'll die. You know what I mean? If I don't get better, I'm gonna get murdered by one of these guys in the cage. So, um, there has to be improvement. So that's really what I'm like focusing on right now, more than anything.
Yeah, that's awesome. In one of your interviews, you drop a few f bombs and you say "sorry, mom," and it's interesting. Is your mom a big fan and she doesn't like you swearing?
Yeah, my mom isn't a big fan of the fight game. I mean, she's supportive, you know what I mean? Like I said, very religious. She's a wonderful lady. She's done a lot in the community, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, she wants me to be, an example when I'm doing these interviews, and I agree with her. I need to control my tongue a little bit more. Especially post fight, I'm all jacked up on adrenaline. Like I said, I'm just
Yeah.
saying things without even thinking. And so yeah, I had like dropped. I didn't even hear the first several I dropped. It wasn't until like I was like a couple deep that I was like, oh, my bad, mom. I know I promised I wasn't gonna cuss this time, but I've already lost it.
My mom
So
doesn't like it either. It's that's really the main. My mom doesn't like me being. Sometimes I'll just go after people,
yeah,
and she doesn't like it when I'm mean,
yeah,
and she doesn't like it when I swear. Other than that, she's crazy supportive. Like I had a
yeah,
dude on here, and we're talking about hand jobs, and she's like, yeah, but no swearing and no. She doesn't like me being mean to people. It's kind of good mom shit. Like
yeah.
I was thinking, like, and my wife says to me after I tell her, oh, my mom didn't like that. She goes, well, just imagine it was your son up there being mean to people or swearing. And I was just like, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's like, she's not asking for too much. You know what I mean?
No,
It's like
no.
you hear that and you're like, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. I
Yeah.
can do that. That's what I was thinking in my head. I was like, you know what, mom? That's fair. I can do that. And I failed. I didn't do it, but I tried my best.
I'll say pretty much anything on the show.
Yeah.
Like anything. And but some of my listeners were DMing me being like, hey, could you stop saying Jesus Christ and God damn it?
Mm,
And I was like, I took it to heart. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna not say those. I'm gonna try not to say those anymore because I don't want to alienate anyone. It doesn't put
yeah.
like I'm just saying I'm out of habit.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you- I don't. But I don't want to alienate anyone. Yeah, I don't want to alienate anyone at the expense of something that's easy for me. And there's some holes in that logic, but I also appreciate the discipline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if, okay, I know I say that too much. I know
Yeah.
I say those two phrases too much and they don't really mean anything. And if it bothers people, I'll help them by not saying it. And then I'll also, practice on myself to try to refrain from saying them. And I think I did a pretty good. Caleb, I don't really say those as much anymore, right?
I haven't heard you say them in a while.
Yeah.
I haven't heard you this whole podcast.
Oh, good. Yeah. And I have some really religious people who are regular guests. Like Froning's been on here a few times. I know he's really religious. I don't want to piss him off.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He makes the numbers go up.
Yeah. No, I believe that. He seems like a pretty cool dude too. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I watched the documentary on Netflix about him. He seems like a pretty cool dude.
He's so cool.
Working out with him.
He's so cool. Dylan Vowell, awesome interview. Battle is an absolute monster. Taylor Starling next. The entire gym is full of savages. Do you know Dylan?
If I saw a picture, there's a lot of people I gotta see. I've met a lot of people in the last year.
He's an amateur fighter. He's a cool dude. He's one of the few people. He's commented so much that I've given him my phone number.
Hey,
there's probably only like a couple people I could say that about on the show. I'm like, all right, dude, here, just stop my DMs. Here's my text. You're going to get lost in there. Yeah, he's super supportive.
Fans that you can that you're cool with like that. That's dope.
I had Alexander on the show, Volkanovski, and he was exceedingly nice and polite, but we never built a rapport.
Yeah.
So you and I just jump in and we just get at it.
Yeah.
And it's like that with a lot. It's like that with a lot of guests. I had this guy Ben Mesrick on the other day. He wrote the movie. The Mark Zuckerberg movie.
Social Network.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wrote the book that was made into a movie. And so, like, he's nothing like me, but we just jumped into it and got at it. And me and you, but there was a veneer on Volkanovski that he wouldn't let me like penetrate. Like we never were like, was he like that? Did you ever get past that with him, or was he always like, he seems just so professional. Like he wouldn't like play with me.
He was definitely and he was like an example of professionalism, of like what a pro fighter should be. But no, he was, I mean, what I'll say about Volk, because he was great to us. He was, even now, if I like shoot him a message and ask him a question, when he sees it in whatever time zone he's in, he's gonna take the time and like, send me a thoughtful response. You know what I mean? Like Volka, he was really cool with us. I will say he does, he takes pride in being that kind of example. You know what I mean? He wants to,
Yeah.
he wants to be on time because, he feels like that's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He has a strong sense of conscience, which is part of the reason I feel like he hasn't hit with the fans as much. You know what I mean? He's not like necessarily like the cool bad boy, but he definitely has a strong sense of what he thinks is like right or wrong. Um, and I could see him like being on a show like this and, you know, thinking about his image and whatnot, not knowing exactly what kind of questions you were going to ask him. So I could see him
Right.
kind of being a little shielded. But no, Volk was a riot. We had a couple of bets where we had, as they called it, nudie runs or streaking on the line. So,
That seems
um,
very Australian, by the way. Those fuckers are just like every time nudity is just part of their game.
oh man, dude, man, I tell you what, and we were doing shoeies, freaking. Me and Ryder were a game of pool away from getting Volk and Uncle Joe, Volk's coach, from running around the house naked. Now we lost, so me and Ryder had to run around the house naked. But now, yeah, they were awesome. They were really cool.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, he was he when he was on the show, he ran a tight ship. I tried to swerve around a little bit. He kept us on the straight and narrow.
Yeah,
He was a gentleman, though. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not trash talking him at all, but you summed him up well.
yeah.
You summed
No,
him up well.
he
I would
is, man.
love
Go
I'd
ahead.
love to meet Bryan, but I know Taylor from high school and have sponsored her a few times for bare knuckle fighting.
Dude, come through MW on an open mat Sunday, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll be there.
Dylan, where do you live again? I forget. Do you teach a kids class on the regular?
Me, I teach kids class Monday through Thursday and Saturday morning.
No shit.
Yeah.
And you train.
Yes, sir.
Man.
No, I look, dude, the kids class, that is something and I get,
Do the kids know? Do they know who you are?
yeah, they
Yeah.
know. And that's one of those big things, like you go back and you win a fight, you come back and it's like you're like a superhero. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Those
you
kids,
are a
they think
superhero.
you can do anything. And like I said, I mean, my kids, yeah, there they are, bunch of troublemakers. But
Damn, kids are great.
like the kids class, to me, that's the most fun. Like teaching the kids class and then them going out and doing competitions and them competing and seeing them grow and develop as like young martial artists. It's so much fun. You know what I mean? The little kid right there in the front with the orange shirt, we call him Lane the Legend. This man is 9 years old. He's a little assassin. He's been training since he was
He
like
looks like a little Irish
5.
killer.
Yeah, no, he's Irish. Yeah, he came out to some Irish song for his last little pancration match. But no, no, the
Bri-
kids class is a blast. I love it.
Bryan, who owns that gym? I just noticed the weirdest fucking thing ever. Who owns that gym?
Um, so this branch of the gym, because there's multiple locations, is owned by Kevin Ferrant, but the guy who started the gym, his name is Gokor Chavichian.
Where is he? Is he still around?
Yeah, he has the original highest stand in Hollywood.
We call that. I'm Armenian. My mom and dad are Armenian,
Oh,
and that
okay. So
and Hayastan means Armenia.
yeah, no, that's one of those questions where someone's been training for 6 months and you're like, do you even know what highest stand means? And they're like, uh, you're like, it's Armenian, because Gokor is Armenian.
Yeah, look up Gokor really quick. There's a guy who's gonna come on the show soon. He's the only Armenian in the NBA. He's on the G team for the Lakers, I think. His name's Gary,
Is it
and I think,
Chavichian?
yeah, I think it's the same last name as that dude. What a fucking small world. I wonder if they're related. Could you look up
No,
Gokor's?
I think he has a son who's really good at basketball. I
Oh
know he has a
shit!
son who's really
Oh
good at
shit!
basketball. Yeah, he's like really tall, and which is weird because Gokor is not tall at all, but he's got two sons that are like really tall. And I know one is really good at basketball.
Oh
If
shit! Yeah, his son's in the fucking NBA in the G League, and he's coming on this. Yeah, holy shit! I want to look up Gokor. I gotta have him on. Find
Yeah,
out how
dude,
you
oh,
raise.
you got it. Gokor is a sad. Like he's one of those people. He doesn't get the credit he deserves because he wasn't a part of the Gracie family. But yeah, like he was a guy that like the Gracies were afraid to take on back in the '90s. You know what I mean? Like he's a problem. You know.
I'd love to have you on my podcast. I cannot believe what a small world this is. So here I am with Bryan Battle, who is the Ultimate Fighter Championship of season 29. He shows me a picture of his kids' class in a gym in North Carolina. And in the back, it says highest on MMA. And the owner of the gym is the father of a guest I'm having next week, who's the only Armenian in the man. I hope my mom or dad watches and sees this. This is crazy.
That was a nice little trail we went on. That like
Oh
happened fast too.
man. Yeah,
That
and
happened
I'm
really
Armenian. My
fast.
mom and dad are Armenian. I'm pumped. I'm pumped. Although
Dude,
I am not
I'm
Armenian,
gonna
I'm
be
just a human. Armenian's just an idea. We're all brothers and sisters. I apologize.
yeah. Well, I mean, no, I mean I mean, any kind of love that Gokor can get is really cool because he is one of the probably the most underappreciated martial artist of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like the wealth of knowledge and like the people he's like helped coach. I mean, because he was Ronda Rousey's original coach.
Yeah,
Uh,
she rolls thick in the Armenians. Wait, go back to that real quick. Caleb, that's his son right there, Gary. Hit that link below. That is his son. I cannot believe this. See, it says Gary.
yeah,
Yeah, click that, and you're gonna see this. He's called and his nickname is the Armenian Sniper. Go,
yeah.
yeah, look at that. Yep, dude. Wow,
He's
I invited that guy to
small.
be on the podcast a couple weeks ago. He only had
Yeah.
119,000 followers. Now he's got 143. His shit's blowing up. Bible boy,
Dude,
look
I
at
mean,
that. Matthew 6:33. It's all
I
Bible
bet
boys at the top.
I bet the whole country of Armenia is gonna follow this guy. You know what I mean? Especially if he gets to the NBA.
It's nuts. Yeah, there's nothing about us that's made for basketball. We're
Like
fucking we're
Gokor.
cave dwellers. We're more gnome.
Well, I was gonna say like Gokor isn't like a tall guy at all. Like he's not a super tall guy. So the fact that he had two sons who are both like tall, it's like, huh, man, that's crazy,
What?
man. You know what I mean?
Go back to that again one more time, Caleb. I want to see what his other son does. His other son's probably like a chef at like the nicest restaurant in LA or something, I bet. Something crazy.
I know
He,
he trains. I don't
uh,
know. Uh,
oh, he trains fighting. Is that him hugging his son right there in the
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
but
that's him right there. Yeah.
he doesn't have a link to him. His name's Arthur. Okay. Anyway, I'll look him up later. Man, that's cool. What a small world. Oh, and I have to invite Craig Jones too. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
do that.
So look, this is impressive. You're like picking up guests as the show's
Yeah,
going
you're
on.
like my agent.
Dude, this is impressive, man. You're like, okay, this is nice.
Looks like a young self. Yeah, same gene pool, dude. Same gene pool. Like, yeah, like I mean, we're like inbred. We're like the Armenians were like trapped in a like small in a Caucasus, a small little area in the world. We're inbred as shit. I mean, not like the Icelandic people, but close.
Man, I mean, Yeah. Oh man, I can't imagine being born in like Iceland in like the early 1700s or something like that. That would be kind of rough.
Yeah, you have your sister and your aunts to sleep with. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
your village.
That's a hard
Hey,
reality.
hey, you adapt. You adapt.
Yeah, yeah. I guess if it's the only reality that you know, I guess it's different. But it's like, woo,
I always
slim
say,
pickings.
like if you were just like if a spaceship were to come along and scoop up every female on the planet, like, and so there were just dudes here, we're 3 months away from every dude just fucking other dudes. Like the dudes will just adapt to anything. Like there's
Yeah.
no. I know you didn't come on the show to talk about that, but dudes will adapt to anything.
Well, I mean, that's what always like I love and I hate prison movies or shows.
Right.
I love and I because I love them because I love everything but the inevitable
Yes.
like scene that I know is coming in every jail movie. I know it's coming. I'm like, like, oh man, that just it gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like
Yes.
not like the actual like I want to like not get in trouble. Like the act of like any kind of like uh what's the word? Unconsensual
Oh, sex.
acts.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
like makes me like really uncomfortable. And then like seeing
That's
like
healthy.
it in
That's
a
healthy. That
jail.
should make it you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and so seeing it in a jail setting, I'm just like, oh, because it's like, there's some like reality to that where you're like, what would I do in that situation? That'd be pretty rough. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. There
uh,
was a I had a it's you say that makes you uncomfortable. I pride myself in being able to talk about anything and anything. Like you want to talk
yeah,
about gay, straight, all that. But there's
yeah,
one thing I don't want to ever really talk about and I don't really want to explore. And I'm okay with that and I'm open to it. And I had a friend one time who was like trying to argue with me, like they brought up the subject of Jeffrey Epstein and that they should lower the age of consent. And I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. They're like, what? I'm
yeah,
like, I'm not talking about that.
hmm
They're like, why? I'm like, because I don't think it like even if there's a 16-year old who's mature enough to have sex with a 40-year-old, I'm not okay with it. We still need that law at 18. It needs to fucking be that way.
yeah,
Kids need to fucking be protected. I'm not interested in like exploring that.
facts,
Leave fucking
facts.
kids alone. No kids. I had Kayla Harrison on here. Do you know who that is?
Yeah,
And
the
she
judoka, yeah.
yeah. And so she wrote a book about how she was molested by her fucking judo instructor from the age of 8 to 16. And I read that fucking book and I had her on the show. I didn't want to talk
6
about
to
it, but we talked.
18.
Yeah, eight from 8 years old to 16, this motherfucker raped her. And she loved him, but she would still do this thing she explained to me called disassociation. When he would
Yeah.
have sex with her, she would leave her body and like be in a field somewhere. And I'm like,
Holy
fuck
cow.
that. Like, fuck
Holy
doing that to
cow.
someone. I'm not you choose to go in the ring to be punched in the face.
Yeah.
No. It's our job as adults to make it so kids, the harsh realities of the world hit kids at some other time.
Yeah.
But
Facts.
but like we
When they're
like,
prepared for it.
yeah, like do your job as a fucking adult.
Yeah. No,
And that's to not to allow any sexual activity to happen for kids unless it's like, it's kid shit. You know what I mean? Like you
yeah.
kiss someone
Yeah.
under the bleachers at the
Yeah.
fucking homecoming parade. Not
No,
being predated on, predators fucking getting kids. I have no.
oh yeah, no, I'm with you on that. That's like it's like anytime people are taking advantage of people, like that's just like
Go find yourself a girl your own age.
facts. Facts. You know what I mean? Like
No guy I know who's 50 years old who's dating a 25-year-old woman is happy, by the way. Not one. And I know a bunch. Not one. I'm
well,
49 and my wife's 43. And let me tell you something. And we've been together like 20 years. It's the greatest fucking thing ever. There's nothing better than staying through every single fight, every single horrible thing you said to each other, every time, like, love it out. If they want to love it out, both people have
yeah.
to want to love it out. But if you love it out, like, you really don't want to be 65 and with a 23-year-old girl. You don't.
Yeah. And
You don't. It's not fun. It's not fun. It looks fun. It's not fun.
I was about to say it's like it's hard to like say that, you know what I mean? Because everyone was like, "What are you talking about?" But I mean, like I went the opposite way. My wife is actually 3 years older than me. You know what I'm saying? I make a joke. You know, she's turning 32 this year. Uh, and, no, I agree with you. I mean, you know, I've only been married
That's
for
almost smart though, because women in their 30s. Oh, now I'm gonna get in trouble. Women in their 30s are insatiable. They need a young dude.
well, it's that,
If you know what
and
I mean.
she knows what she wants. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, there's no games. It's nothing complicated. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like you said, like there's like hey, there's nothing. There's no roundaboutness to it. It's like it's happening or it's not happening. Um, and then plus, she was mature enough to be able to like deal with the schedule of a broke fighter. You know what I mean? Not feel insecure when I didn't respond to her text. Right away. But no, I've only been married for a little over a year now, and yeah, kind of like you said. I mean, obviously everything is not always like peaches and roses, but
It's work.
it's hard. But it's like everything that is hard is like worth it. It's like you said, I can't imagine even only a year in having to like restart this process all over again with
Oh, if my
someone
wife,
else.
if something happened to my wife, I'd fucking become a monk. Fuck
Yep.
that. I'm never doing that shit again. No fucking way.
Yeah, it's
God
just like
forbid. I tell her that too. She's like, yeah, that's not true. I'm like, the fuck it ain't. I'm not interested in getting this close with anyone ever again.
facts. I mean, you got to be, and it makes you a better
Not in this
person. That's
lifetime.
like the challenge of like marriage. Yeah, I feel like it definitely makes you better. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, it's like it's hard because it's like you have to have those like conversations with yourself. You're like, huh, like was she really wrong? Like, am I wrong right now? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, no, wedding marriage
Am
is
I
a pretty
really going to
awesome.
get upset? Am I really? I've gotten upset 3,000 times because she closed the door on the washer.
Yeah,
At what point am I going to be like, hey, it's your fault you're getting upset?
yeah, no,
At what point are you just going to shut the fuck up, open the washer door, and try a different approach?
I tell you, the biggest thing I've learned about myself is like trying to like if we're in an argument and almost like pulling something out. You know what I mean? Like you have an argument about or I should say like I'm confronted about something and I don't enjoy that I'm being confronted.
Right.
And so then now I'm confronting her about something. But then, now I just realized like within the time that I've been married, how like unfair that is. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yes, it's totally unfair. Yes.
like,
Yes.
go ahead. So what you're saying, you've been
I
in
well,
the
I
game
tell
longer than me.
I tell my wife, like, I pick a fight with her. Like,
Yeah.
yo, you fucking left you left the cheese out and the dog ate it. She's like,
Yeah.
well, you did that yesterday. I'd be like, yo, look, motherfucker, one fight at a time. You can't do that. You can't tell me. You should have picked that fight with me yesterday. Yeah, I don't appreciate, and I try not to do that to her. Like, if she picks a fight with me, I'd take it. I grab my ankles and I just try to take it. Like, okay, you know what I mean? She's giving it to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yo,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And my wife's not a nag at all.
Yeah.
I'm the nag, but
Yeah.
yeah, like one fight at a time. Yeah, when someone comes at you, and you owe it to your mate to be a good fighter.
Facts.
Like, just be a good fighter. No, like when they come in throwing down, fight them on their terms. Don't like start swerving and like being a bitch and like not acknowledge what they're saying or try to change the subject or turn it around on them. Fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Take the ass whooping if you're supposed to take it. I told you to do that 5 times. Why aren't you doing it? I'm so sorry. I will do better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
And then
yeah,
maybe write down on a note, jump this bitch later on tonight and talk to her about this other shit. You know what I mean? Like, so you don't forget you got to owe you. Or no, I'm joking.
It's like some little passive aggressive stuff. Like, I'm going to eat all your secret hidden ice cream bars.
Sometimes my wife will call me out on some shit. We'll be driving somewhere and she'll be like, I'm going to pay for this later, huh? I'm like, yeah, not for a few weeks. I'll store it in my brain and circle back around a couple weeks, make you pay for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, snap. No, I'm normally if I get all hot and bothered, I usually like just like go outside and think about it for a little while. And normally it's like I either come to the conclusion that I was wrong, either that or it's not worth it, or that I'm 100% right and I need to go start a war. Not necessarily start a war, but like.
Well, she's lucky. She's lucky you think like that. Some people just react. They're like flies that fly from one pile of shit to the other. And if you don't self-reflect and be honest, then, and there's different times to pick a fight. Like the week before their menses come, you don't fight with them.
Oh yeah.
You don't fight with them. You stay away. You're just like,
Yeah. Yeah. Facts. 100%.
You're not going to get any fair fighting. Bryan, 2 hours and 8 minutes of your time. I've stuck you into my Google alerts. I track any article about you. I would love to have you back on again as we get closer to your next fight and pick your brain and see how you're doing.
Yeah, man, this sounds like a plan. This has been a very unique interview. I think this is like this is definitely the longest interview I've done, and I wasn't mad about it. It was a good time.
Oh. Caleb, does that mean he was mad about it? How do I
No,
read into that?
no. I mean it. I wasn't mad about it. Like we're sitting here 2 hours. I was like, damn, that was 2 hours. But it didn't feel like 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like it went
Good.
by. I felt like it went by pretty quickly.
Man, you the man. Are those wireless headphones?
Yeah, man, they're Bluetooth, man. You know what I mean? I got these big chunky ears now. Having the Bluetooth muffs are the way to go.
And that has a microphone on it too?
I guess so. I
Because your
mean, it was
voice
like I
sounds
tried
great.
it.
What brand is that? What brand is that? I want to write that down.
This
Tell my
is
guest.
this is Under Armour. I don't know
No
which
shit.
Under Armour headphone it is, but it is an Under Armour Bluetooth headphone.
Well, they work for you for interviews. I'll tell you, you sound great.
This is actually the first time I've used these for an interview, and that's good because I'll use these all the time.
Yeah, they're money. All right, brother.
It's actually a good time.